Chapter 682. Unconventional in the driver's seat. The little assistant, Dong Zai, was in a difficult position and was trying to think of a way to escape. Tang Xinghua continued persuading Gong Su earnestly. Gong Su, I'm not trying to scare you, but Emperor Sky is obviously trying to mess with you this time. Almost half of the people from the entertainment industry shared the post, and this issue is getting more serious. Your father. Young master has waited over a year for this sports car. It has 900 horsepower, goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.8 seconds, has a speed limit of 350 kilometers per hour with a top speed of 384 kilometers per hour. And the glass is a work of art. Try hitting my little baby again if you dare. Shit. Still hitting, huh? Young master will fight all of you. Tang Xinghua nearly broke down. Brat, are you even listening to what I'm saying? What are you even focusing on? Hey, don't get out of the car. Gong Su, you're nuts. Tang Xinghua couldn't stop him at all, and could only watch as Gong Su got out of the car even in such a situation. The moment Gong Su got out, it was like splashing cold water in an oil pan. The media immediately rushed to him wildly and started asking questions one after another like pelting hailstones. Reporter. Gong Su. May I know if you have anything to say regarding the incident of you acting like a big shot and splashing coffee directly on Ling Xiaojia? Gong Su lifted his chin, revealing his refined, handsome and domineering face. That's right, young master is a bigger shot than him, Ling Xiaojia. Reporter. Bullying others like that. Don't you think you went too far? Gong Su's lips curled back, revealing his cold and threatening teeth. Yeah, young master is a big bully, so what? Bite me then. Reporter. So you're not going to apologize to Ling Xiaojia? Gong Su raised his brows. Apologize? Young master will splash coffee on that dumbass, Ling Xiaojia, each time I see him. Get him to fight me if he dares. Hearing Gong Su's words, the fans and bystanders exploded in fury and charged towards him violently. Gong Su, go to hell. You're a scum in the community. Tumor. Leave the entertainment industry. Gong Su raised his brows and straightened his shirt. Aiyo, come at me. Throw that. Aim it right here. Young master's shirt isn't some cheap stuff like Ling Xiaojia's. A small piece of this fabric is worth $1 million. Go ahead and throw. Come at me. Come. Tang Xinghua. Dong Zai. The two of them watched helplessly as Gong Su headed straight into the jeering crowd and unleashed his ego. Dong Zai was so anxious that he nearly cried. Xingji, what should we do now? You better stop Gong Ji. We can't let him continue like this. Tang Xinghua looked at the outstanding hero before him verbally sparring with others. You think I can stop him? Those reporters assigned to follow Gong Su were the happiest. They never lacked explosive content and topics to publish. It went without saying what the hottest gossip would be the next day. Tang Xinghua squeezed into the crowd and used tremendous effort to pull Gong Su out. Brat, that's enough. Stop yelling. Why should I? Unless they clean my car. Gong Su's mind was focused only on his baby sports car. Tang Xinghua gritted his teeth. I'll clean it. I'll get someone to clean it for you, alright? Can we go back inside now? Gong Su stood in front of everyone boldly. No way. Whoever dirted my car will clean it up for me. If they don't clean it up today, they don't have to think about leaving. Young master isn't done with you guys. Everyone, when stars encountered such a situation where they were surrounded, they were usually in a state of panic and couldn't wait to escape, but Gong Su, on the other hand, wouldn't let the media leave. He was really unconventional. Truly an exotic flower in the entertainment industry. Chapter 683. Distorted heartbeat. Yuanwan was taking a shower when her phone was flooded with countless messages till her battery died. When she opened one of the links, a video popped out immediately. The video was quite shaky and noisy, and the scene was in complete chaos. In the crowd of black shadows, Gong Su's fluorescent blue flight jacket was exceptionally striking. That's right, young master is a bigger shot than him, Ling Xiaojia. Yeah, young master is a big bully, so what? Bite me then. Aiyo, come at me. Throw that aim it right here. Come. They don't have to think about leaving. Yuanwan didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she heard that last sentence. He doesn't hide immediately when he runs into the media, and instead, he acts like a big bully and stops them from leaving. I'm afraid in the entire entertainment industry, Gongsu is the only one who does this. Her phone rang continuously like it was pressing her to death. It was a call from Gongsu's assistant, Dong Zai. Yi Wanwan answered. Hello. Dong Zai sounded like he was on the verge of crying. Yi Ji, I'm so sorry, we bumped into the media and fans at the entrance and I wasn't watching Gongsu closely. Yi Wanwan replied. I already saw the video. Dong Zai. Yi Ji, what should we do now? I really can't stop him. Yi Wanwan already expected this to happen. Don't worry, let him be. Dong Zai was stunned. Huh? Let him be? How can we do that? Yi Ji, are you sure? Are you able to stop him? Yi Wanwan replied with a question. Dong Zai didn't have any rebuttal. I can't. Yi Wanwan. So, do you still have any questions? Dong Zai. No. Dong Zai hung up in a daze. What kind of bosses am I working for? Why are they becoming more and more unconventional one after another? Yi Wanwan browsed on the internet. It was filled with gossip and news regarding Gongsu. There weren't many people who were able to commit such a terrifying massacre in the entertainment industry. Gongsu's temperament was too unique, so he was always in the middle of gossip and was the focus of the crowd. He was a natural star. Such an assertive character, if not controlled or guided, would be fatal to him, just like it was now. However, as long as PR was done right, no one could be as popular, had the capacity, nor was as talked about as him in the entire industry. Then he'd be the king of popularity. Initially, taking over Gongsu was just an unplanned move. But Yi Wanwan had become quite interested in this challenge now. The next morning, dazzling media, Yi Wanwan's office. Yi Wanwan was dealing with some matters for a bit and felt a little tired. She supported her head with one hand and lay down on the sofa to take a power nap. At this moment, her office door was slammed open with a loud bang. Gongsu charged inside in a fury while Dong Zai staggered behind. Suji, slow down. Slow down. Damn it, I want to get rid of Ling Xiaojia. There can only be one of us in the entertainment industry. Yi Ji, go tell management that I would like to get rid of Ling Xiaojia. As long as the tiger doesn't show its power, he treats me like a sick cat, huh? He actually dared to step over my head. He wants to play, huh? Young master, I shall play till his death. Gongsu exploded like a firecracker, but halfway through, he suddenly noticed the youth resting on the sofa. The sunlight filtered through the window panes and danced on the youth's peaceful and beautiful face. Gongsu went silent all of a sudden. Thump thump, his heart started beating recklessly once again. Damn. *PID heart. You're not done, huh? No way, I need to get an answer by today. I have to prove to myself that I'm definitely not gay. Chapter 684. Let me give you a kiss like a thief. Gongsu slowly leaned towards the man resting on the sofa. I just have to give it a go. And it'll be done. But the moment he approached, Yi Wanwan suddenly opened her eyes. Gongsu immediately stood up straight with a swish. Yi Wanwan placed the document in her hands down and shifted her eyes to the sofa beside her. Come, take a seat. Gongsu remained motionless and stood rooted at the same spot. He said sternly, Yi Ji, I have a request and you have to agree to it. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. What is it? Gongsu said firmly, May I kiss you? Dong Zai, who was by the side. Damn. What did I just hear? I think I'm probably deaf. When Yi Wanwan heard his request, a dangerous light flashed in her eyes. She glanced at Gongsu with a fake smile and said slowly, Are you trying to court death? Gongsu felt as if a Cupid's arrow shot through his heart. He clutched his chest and wailed. Ouch! Yi Ji, don't do this. Don't look at me with that expression. Don't talk to me with that tone. It's simply too much. Yi Ji, you look too similar to Little Candied Plum. Whenever I look at you, I accidentally see you as Little Candied Plum. It's as if I'm turning gay. Dong Zai, Ji gay? I practically just found out some earth-shattering news. Could this artist be any more immoral? Gongsu mumbled. Luckily, I kissed Tang Xinghua last night, and it made me extremely nauseous, which proves I'm still straight. But Yi Ji, once I see you, My heart still jumps recklessly like a little deer. It's so stupid. As long as you let me give you a kiss, and if I feel disgusted, I won't have to worry anymore. Yi Wanwan. Suddenly, I feel a little sympathetic towards Tang Xinghua. Gongsu tried bargaining. Then, why doesn't Yi Ji let me meet little Candied Plum once? Once I see little Candied Plum, I won't have this misperception anymore for sure. Yi Wanwan was about to speak, but she was interrupted by a knock at the door. Director Yi Suji, it's time for the meeting. Yi Wanwan. Got it. We'll be there soon. Yi Wanwan casually glanced at Gongsu. You want me to agree to your request? Gongsu's eyes lit up, and he nodded continuously. Yi Wanwan stood up, straightened her lapel, and gave him a sidelong glance. Sure, as long as both your legs are strong enough. As in, if I'm not afraid of getting my legs broken. Gongsu immediately felt a chill down his spine, and his calves started to tremble. In the conference room, all the higher-ups in dazzling media were present. In the middle seat was the general manager, Yang Jin Yuan. Seated on his left was Yi Wanwan, followed by Gongsu. Yang Jin Yuan's expression was solemn. What is the PR department doing? Up till now, they still haven't gotten the situation under control, and instead, the matter is getting worse. The director of PR felt resentful. He snuck a glance at Gongsu, who was sitting there with his legs crossed like a great master. Mr. Yang, we've tried our best to keep the matter under control and deleted all the relevant posts. We've done everything we could, but Gongsu kept quarreling with the netizens online last night. It's simply too hard to deal with. A weak teammate does you more harm than a strong enemy. We worked so hard and finally managed to keep the matter under control. But a simple comment from Gongsu invited another slew of scoldings once again. We're all going crazy, all right. Chapter 685. You have a lot of guts when encountered with this sort of situation. Who would dare to make reckless remarks? They could only listen obediently to the company's directions. But Gongsu went on Weibo and did all sorts of damage. He also retorted back aggressively, and was talented at attracting more hatred. Every time Gongsu caused an accident, the entire PR department's mood turned so heavy as if their parents had passed away. Of course, Yang Jin Yuan knew the source of their woes, but nothing could be done with Gongsu. All he could do was slap the table and scold his subordinates. What I want right now isn't excuses or reasons but solutions. The director of PR stuttered. Right now, the only way we can reduce the impact is to have Gongsu step out and apologize, then wait for things to slowly subside. Gongsu raised his brows, placed his feet down, and stood up slowly. He made his way towards the director of PR. Aiyo, Director Fong, you have a lot of guts, huh? What did you just say? You want young master to do what? Say it again, HM? The PR director cried out immediately. Yi, Director Yi. Help me. Yi Wanwan warned Gongsu with a stern glance. Gongsu scoffed before returning to his seat reluctantly. Only then did the PR director heave a sigh of relief and wipe off his cold sweat. This job is really too challenging. Yang Jinyuan looked towards Yi Wanwan, who hadn't yet spoken a word. Director Yi, you're Gongsu's manager. What do you think? Yi Wanwan looked indifferent and replied, I've already told Mr. Yang what I think about this incident. Gongsu is not in the wrong. Gongsu's mood had been extremely irritable lately, but when he heard this, his anger immediately subsided. Indeed, Yi Ji was the only wise man in the entire company. The others were just a bunch of fools. Considering Yi Wanwan's attitude, Yang Jinyuan frowned and didn't seem too happy about it. However, he could understand where Yi Wanwan was coming from. With Gongsu's temperament, Yi Bai could only let him be. Yang Jinyuan seemed to have thought of something. He turned to Gongsu gravely and said, Gongsu, the impact from this incident is too severe that even the Ministry of Culture has been alerted. They have already called the headquarters, and Chairman Chu has already said that the company must be held accountable for this. If you insist on being uncooperative, the company has no choice but to make a decision. Gongsu narrowed his eyes. Are you threatening me? Yang Jinyuan said coldly. Gongsu, this isn't a threat but a fact. In 3 days' time, the company will hold a press conference, and if you don't appear and apologize, I'm sorry, but the company can only put a halt on all your activities. Gongsu's eyes flickered slightly when he heard that. Yang Jinyuan's attitude towards me doesn't seem right. Who gave him the courage to speak to me this way all of a sudden? He even threatened to kick me out, unless something went wrong backstage. Gongsu was deep in thought. All of a sudden, his phone started ringing. It was a call from home. The moment he saw the caller ID, a bad feeling surfaced. Hello, what is it? Little bastard, get home right away. On the other end of the receiver was his father trying to contain his anger. He hung up immediately after speaking. Gongsu muttered a curse under his breath. The old man had really interfered. An ear-piercing noise resounded as Gongsu dragged his chair and stood up. Whatever, do what you want. Chapter 686. 9 dragons wouldn't be able to hold him back. Gongsu didn't give Yang Jinyuan any face as he left and immediately slammed the door. There was an awkward atmosphere in the conference room. Aside from Yi Bai, Gongsu didn't give face to anyone else in the company, not even Chu Hongguang. With that thought, Yang Jinyuan calmed down. Let's end the meeting here. PR department, you are not to relax. Keep a close eye and don't let the issue worsen. Yang Jinyuan ordered. Late at night, in a private VIP room of a certain bar, all the artists from Emperor Sky were having a party, and everyone gathered to gloat. Ha ha ha, that Gongsu is definitely dead this time. Just some spit from everyone could kill him. Gongsu has his backer though. I'm afraid it won't be that easy to get rid of him, eh? Someone expressed his doubts. Somebody else with insider news whispered. Don't you know? There are 3 sons in the Gong family and Gongsu is the second eldest son. The one who gets the least affection. With this incident being blown out of proportion, the Gong family's stock prices were affected, and I just received news that Gongsu has been grounded at home. All his sources of income were cut off, and he will be sent overseas to a desolate country to work in a small subsidiary company. His days are over. Haha, that's why I said that he would cause his own death someday. Wan Shanshan was sitting next to Ling Xiaojia, and she poured some wine for him. She said with a look of contempt. Dazzling already issued a statement saying they would be holding a press conference in 3 days. TSK, he was so arrogant at the filming site before and now, he doesn't have his family to back him up anymore. He'll obediently apologize to you for sure. Exactly. How dare he compare himself to our Xiaojia? He's really shameless. If it wasn't for all that stinking money from his family, he wouldn't even be worth a fart. Hearing everyone's comments, Ling Xiaojia reclined on the sofa delighted. The thought of Gongsu, who always suppressed him, bowing down and submitting to him, made him feel quite satisfied. Not only was he able to trample all over Gongsu from this incident, but the fury from his fans and the sympathy from passers-by led to a soaring of his popularity as well. Getting splashed by a single cup of coffee was totally worth it. There was no news of Gongsu ever since he returned home. After that, Tang Xinghe went to look for Yi Wanwan and Luo Chen, extremely worried about this issue. When Wan Shanshan posted the video on Weibo, Luo Chen immediately counterposted on Weibo to explain what really happened, but nobody believed him. Tang Xinghe sighed. Yi Ji, do you really not care? Yi Wanwan glanced at Tang Xinghe and didn't answer his question. Instead, she asked him, in your opinion, what kind of person do you think Gongsu is? Tang Xinghe coughed before answering truthfully. Push him a little and he'll fly to the sky. He'll let loose so completely that even 9 dragons couldn't hold him back. He'll never admit defeat no matter what. He just wants to be arrogant and launch himself 90,000 miles away. Yi Wanwan chuckled. It's just as you say. She wasn't taking action immediately because firstly, she needed to wait for the right moment and secondly, Gongsu was different from Luo Chen. He couldn't hold back and tolerate the hatred silently at all. It's impossible to use ordinary methods to deal with Gongsu, Yi Wanwan said. Tang Xinghe's head was aching. I understand this logic. But then Yi Ji, what should we do? The situation is really bad right now and Gongsu's completely fallen out with his family. In the past he was arrogant and despotic, but right now, it goes without saying that the public will take this chance to strike him while he's down. If we continue to let him do whatever he wants and court death, the press conference tomorrow will definitely be a bust. Chapter 687. Big bro, please let me off. Tang Xinghe was still probing Yi Wanwan for solutions when Luo Chen suddenly stared at his phone, aghast. Yi Ji, this is bad. Gong Su posted something else on Weibo. When Tang Xinghe heard that, his teeth started to hurt from grinding. Damn. What did that punk post this time? Tang Xinghe quickly opened Gong Su's main page and saw that Gong Su shared the post Dazzling had posted regarding the press conference where Gong Su would be repenting for his actions. He added a comment below, apologize my ass. Middle finger emoji. Wow, Dazzling actually dared to push Gong Su into a corner and went ahead on announcing the press conference, declaring that he would be apologizing then. And Gong Su in return really dared to slap Dazzling in the face in front of everyone. Tang Xinghe's face was as black as the underside of a pot. Damn, this guy. Would it kill him to exercise some restraint? I already warned him before I came over. Yi Wanwan sat comfortably on the sofa. She glanced at the Weibo post Gong Su shared, and the corners of her lips curled upwards. After that, she tapped lightly on the share button and typed a few words. I'm with you. Tang Xinghe looked blankly at Yi Bai. He didn't try to talk Gong Su out of it but even shared the post indicating his support for Gong Su, adding fuel to the fire. Tang Xinghe's eyes nearly popped out from their sockets. What the? Is Yi Bai infected by Gong Su or something? Oh my god. Yi, what are you doing? Sure. You said we can't use conventional methods to deal with Gong Su, but don't tell me that your unconventional method is to soar into the sky with him. Tang Xinghe was going crazy, but in the end, in the next second, he refreshed the page and another Weibo post appeared. Luo Chen, who was standing next to him, had shared Yi Wanwan's post with the same 3 words. I'm with you. Luo Chen held his phone and looked in Yi Wanwan's direction. His gaze was unwavering. Although he didn't know what Yi Bai's plan was, he would support him all the way without a doubt, no matter what his plan was. Tang Xinghe. He really had nothing to say. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the press conference. After a few days of fermenting, this incident had reached the peak of its popularity. The venue of the press conference was completely packed and every media outlet was present. Nobody expected Gong Su to be present, but he was surprisingly punctual. If it was someone else, they would probably look tortured and haggard, and even if they weren't, they would definitely dress in black and pretend to be remorseful. However, after disappearing for a few days, Gong Su was still looking as charming and attractive as usual. He was wearing a flashy neon jacket, wasn't wearing any sunglasses or masks, and there wasn't a trace of remorse on his face at all. He simply appeared so brazenly like that in front of the press. On stage, Gong Su sat in the middle, and next to him were higher-ups from the PR department and General Manager Yang Jinyuan. On his left was Yi Wanwan, followed by Luo Chen. At this moment, Yang Jinyuan was feeling so much regret that his intestines were turning green. But Gong Su already said those words and no matter what was going to happen, he could only bite the bullet. However, Yang Jinyuan was still struggling at his last breath. He leaned over to Yi Wanwan's ear and said, Director Yi, do you think we could negotiate a little? You could convince Gong Su to pretend he's not feeling well, and we'll postpone the press conference. Gong Su rubbed his chin and grinned at Yang Jinyuan. I don't do that, Director Yang. Didn't you tell me to be present today? You were going to get rid of me if I didn't appear, right? See, aren't I a good boy? Yang Jinyuan, big bro, please let me off. Chapter 688. Who gave you the confidence initially? He assumed that as long as Gong Su didn't have his family backing him, he would definitely cower, but who knew that this guy would be so stubborn and unbeatable? Yang Jinyuan gritted his teeth, and a hint of gloominess appeared in his eyes. If things really turned ugly today, Dazzling could only get rid of Gong Su and cut all ties with him. This Yi Bai really didn't grasp the severity of the issue. He was still letting Gong Su do whatever he wanted at a time like this and thought Gong Su was still as well regarded as he was in the past. He acted like there wouldn't be any consequences even if Gong Su launched himself into the sky. Without the Gong family backing him, Gong Su was merely a paper tiger. The day of the press conference marked 5 days since Wan Shanshan first posted that video on Weibo. The entire incident happened because Gong Su went to the filming site of Terrifying Dragon 2 and bumped into his enemy, Ling Xiaojia. Gong Su was the one who dirtied Ling Xiaojia's clothes, but in the end, he didn't apologize at all and even used his riches to insult him. He publicly poured coffee all over Ling Xiaojia and used all kinds of verbal insults. There were 3 distinct types of netizens. The first kind hated the rich, the second kind sympathized with the weak, and the third kind were angry youths. When a spiteful person incited strong emotions in these groups, it could cause terrible violence. And for Gong Su's case, all 3 of these groups were active in bashing him. There was no need to fan the flames at all. A simple video would be enough to push him to where the wind and waves were strongest, making all the netizens condemn him. The past few days there was an overwhelming number of posts with sensational titles such as "Stop Bullying in the Entertainment Industry," "Gong Su's Sociopathic Behavior," and "Banish the Scum of the Entertainment Industry." At first, Gong Su was just a brash and arrogant young man with tons of scandals that were normally considered small-scale. But today, this scandal was a clash of social classes, attracting the resentment of the entire country. Gossip was a fearful thing. With such ongoing discussions, Gong Su might be kicked out of showbiz, and his future could also be affected. Those seemingly invisible and harmless words were no less than the actions of a bloodthirsty slaughterer. Outside the hotel, angry fans and crowds held banners and surrounded the entire place. A few of Gong Su's residences had also fallen into their hands, and the headlines on all the gossip magazines along every street related to this incident. As the primary battlefield, the internet was permeated by smoke. Gong Su's personal Weibo was filled with insults, his personal homepage was blackened, he received death threats, and his fan groups and forums were bombarded with messages. Those who incited cyberviolence didn't waste any opportunity to attack him. And at the same time, at the hotel, the press were using their pens as knives, and each one of them was eager to carve a chunk of meat off Gong Su. Reporter: Gong Su, as we all know, the feud between you and Ling Xiaojia has been long-standing. Ling Xiaojia maintains a low profile and has never instigated a dispute with you. This time, it was just a small conflict in the beginning, yet you trampled and wantonly insulted his dignity. You were also unapologetic for your wrongdoings as you have a strong backing. I would like to know just who gave you that unrestrained confidence. Is it the company behind you or your backing, Grand Million Group? It was clear that the reporters wanted to start a war and implicate Dazzling as well as the Gong family in order to intensify the issue. Gong Su let out a chuckle. When he lifted that domineering face of his, he made sure to speak every single word clearly. Who gave me the confidence? I, Gong Su, am letting you know that even if my old man cuts ties with me, even if the company kicks me out, even if I'm left with no fans at all, I'll still say the same thing. Want me to apologize? Sure, in the next life. Chapter 689. Come back. Gong Su's words left the entire place in total silence. The media initially thought Gong Su would give in to the pressure this time, but little did they expect that Gong Su would actually have this attitude. Yi Wanwan's brows raised subtly. She had to admit that this rich second-generation kid was really quite manly at this moment. Gong Su was always in the spotlight as a natural star, but his temperament was fragile and not suited to be in the industry. What he needed was balance. As his manager, she wished she could become that source of balance for him. Luo Chen's gaze was complicated as he looked at Gong Su. Even though he disagreed with many of Gong Su's actions, he admired and yearned for his wanton and fearless character. As Gong Su's words caused an explosion in the media, it also stirred up more excitement. Gong Su certainly didn't let them down. Following that, the press questions came pelting down like hailstones one after another. Great young Master Gong's nature is truly an eye-opener. Does this mean you don't think you've done anything wrong since you vehemently objected to apologizing? Gong Su, in your eyes, do you think those people in the lower class who slog through life in order to survive are just like ants to wealthy people like you and deserve to be trampled on and tortured? With great power comes great responsibility. The more capable you are, the more responsibilities you have. This is the correct principle to follow, but it's people like you who are occupying the top spots in society now. You are a real drain and pest of society. Seeing the crowd getting more and more out of control, Yang Jinyuan's face darkened. Seems like we won't be able to keep Gong Su anymore. Just as the media was bombarding Gong Su, An enraged fan emerged from the crowd and charged towards Gong Su. Gong Su, you piece of garbage! A monster from the sewers! What's going on? Stop him! Yang Jingyuan bellowed. The bodyguards rushed forward, but because of the crowd and the fan's enormous strength, he actually managed to reach Gong Su. A cold light flashed. The fan had a small knife on him, and with his emotions out of control, he jumped on Gong Su. Screams were heard everywhere, and the place was in total chaos. Just as the fan's knife flied towards Gong Su's face, Yuanwan moved swiftly. Her arm swung across at lightning speed, and she protected Gong Su behind her while the fan fell, and the bodyguards pressed him to the ground. However, in the midst of the ruckus, Yuanwan's arm got cut while protecting Gong Su. Fresh red blood stained her white suit instantly. YG. Gong Su looked at the cut on Yuanwan's arm. His eye socket cracked and like a furious wild beast, he kicked the chair over and sprinted towards the man. Damn your mother! Gong Su grabbed the fan by his collar, raised his fist, and was about to rain punches on his face. Every media outlet present immediately picked up their cameras, eager to enjoy this big show. Gong Su! An icy voice rang out behind him faintly, calling Gong Su's name. Gong Su immediately stopped his craziness. However, his breathing was messy and heavy. He still gripped onto that fan's hand tightly, clearly on the edge of losing control, and flying into a rage. Yuanwan wrapped her arm with a bandage provided by staff and said slowly, "Come back." Chapter 690. Seek justice. Gong Su's fist was so tightly clenched that it creaked. He took a deep breath and retracted his fist in the end. He threw that man on the ground before returning to Yuanwan's side without a word. Seeing Gong Su was interrupted, all the media present were disappointed. At the same time, everybody turned their attention to the manager next to Gong Su. Where did this person come from? He actually managed to pull Gong Su back from a situation like that. The media seemed to have found a new explosive topic. One reporter spoke up instantly. "Director Yi, could I ask you a question?" Yuanwan responded, "Go ahead." The reporter's words were sharp. "Director Yi, you shared Gong Su's post on Weibo last night at 8, indicating that you're with him. Does this mean you agree and support Gong Su's actions?" Gong Su stared ominously at Yuanwan's injured arm. When he heard the reporter's question, implicating Yi Bai, he furrowed his brows and his expression darkened further. Yuanwan's expression remained the same, and she gave a simple and firm answer. "Yes." The reporter sneered. "Truly, birds of the same feather flock together. No wonder Gong Su chose you to be his manager. Both of you are just jackals of the same tribe, huh? You betrayed your professionalism and morals for money and power. Is this how you should work as a manager?" The other reporters chimed in as well. "Being Gong Su's lackey, are you able to face your conscience? Since you're Gong Su's manager, don't hide in the dark and remain silent. Please account for Gong Su's actions to the media, the fans, and the public. Seek justice for the victim." Gong Su balled his fists up and roared in a fury. "Stop trying to fan the flames here. Let me give a word of warning to all of you here. This incident had nothing to do with anyone else. Just come at me alone." Gong Su wanted to continue, but Yuanwan placed her arm over his shoulder and stopped him. Then she stood up slowly. All the cameras pointed at Yuanwan when she suddenly stood up. Is Gong Su's manager prepared to apologize on behalf of Gong Su? Usually, when artists didn't cooperate, their managers would have to step forward. After all, things had already escalated to this point, and if they still choose not to apologize, it was akin to waiting for death. With everyone's attention on her, Yuanwan's cold gaze swept past every single person present and she said, making sure to enunciate each word carefully, "Just now, a reporter brought up seeking justice and holding Gong Su accountable. That's right, for today's press conference, I am going to seek justice. I would like to request Wan Shanshan and Ling Xiaozhe from Emperor Sky Entertainment, and all the artists involved to account for their actions, and apologize to Gong Su." The moment Yuanwan's words fell, there was a pin-drop silence in the entire hall. Every media outlet was in disbelief. What did Gong Su's manager say? He wants to seek justice? He wants Wan Shanshan and Ling Xiaozhi to account for their actions? He actually wants someone else to apologize to Gongsu? Is this person insane? Yang Jinyuan was in shock as well. He was hopping mad as he looked at Yi Wanwan, who acted on her own initiative and protested softly. Yi Bai, are you nuts? What nonsense are you saying? Shut your trap. Not only were the media, Yang Jinyuan and the higher-ups in shock, but Gongsu was in a daze as well. If Yi Bai gave in to pressure today, he'd have nothing to say, but he didn't expect Yi Bai would actually say something like this. Chapter 691. Apologize to Gongsu. Damn. He actually wants Ling Xiaozhi to apologize to Gongsu? Has he lost his mind? How could someone be so unreasonable? No wonder Ling Xiaozhi didn't even dare to make a sound when he was bullied by Gongsu. These people are simply too shameless. Even a humble and low-profile artist like Ling Xiaozhi was bullied like that. I wonder how others were tyrannized by Gongsu. I think Luo Chen was definitely forced to protect Gongsu this time. Everybody knows how terrible their relationship is. Gongsu always bullies Luo Chen, so how is it possible that Luo Chen stood up for Gongsu? TSK, they can't even draft their lies properly. I want to see how this Yi Bai is going to fabricate more lies. Following what Yi Wanwan said, the entire hall was in chaos and everyone was criticizing dazzling media. Yi Wanwan didn't say anything more as she sat there indifferently and took out a small USB. She then walked to the stage and inserted the USB into the computer. Everyone, please take a look at this video clip. Video clip? What's Yi Bai planning? Everyone turned to the screen immediately. Who knows? Let's just watch. I don't think he can still wriggle his way out of this one now. Yeah. Yi Wanwan skipped to roughly the middle of the video before pressing play, and the video started playing on the big screen in front of everyone. Gongsu, what are you doing? Now this outfit belongs to me. Young master here is splashing coffee on my own outfit. Is it any of your business? What are you yelling for? Yue? What about me? Didn't you say we just have to pay up? What are you waiting for? Take it off. Is young master's outfit so comfortable, huh? The video that was playing was from when Gongsu was bullying other artists that day. The video Wan Shanshan posted on Weibo. Watching this clip ignited fury in everyone once again. What's this manager Yi trying to do? Isn't bullying enough? She still wants all of us to recall how shameless her artist is, huh? What's the meaning of this? Why did you make us watch the video Wan Shanshan posted again? Who wants to see that disgusting face of Gongsu? Many reporters were angered, but there was a group of experienced reporters who realized that something didn't seem right. Weird, this video doesn't seem to be the one Wan Shanshan posted. How is it different? Isn't it the same? It's exactly the same. Look carefully, the content is the same, but the angle is different. This video was taken by a different person. Also, why did Yi Bai choose to play it from the middle? An old reporter was suspicious. Maybe there was someone else at the scene who recorded it as well but was obstructed by Gongsu's tyrannical abuse, so he or she didn't dare to post it. What's so weird about it? Shortly after, the video stopped playing. Yi Wanwan's gaze scanned across everyone present. It was this video that caused Gongsu to be pinned on the hanging post for being despicable. After that, Wan Shanshan, Ling Xiaozhi and all the other Emperor Sky artists who were present had their so-called irrefutable testimonies obliterating all our explanations before the earth-shattering curses and online violence started to rain down on Gongsu. Yi Wanwan paused before she continued. But what is the truth of the matter? Almost nobody bothered to pursue it, and because everyone assumed he was heinous, he must actually be heinous, right? You thought this must be the truth. Chapter 692. Truth of the matter. After saying that, Yi Wanwan looked at the computer screen again. There was a light click of the mouse and this time, she didn't play the video from the middle. Instead, she directly clicked the replay button and played the video from the beginning. In the video, it was obvious that the setting was still the filming site of Terrifying Dragon 2. Ling Xiaozhi, Wan Shanshan and a few artists from Emperor Sky were gathered around gossiping. During their conversation they said things like has been and best kept under the table to ridicule Luo Chen. Luo Chen's assistant was about to step forward to interrupt them, but Luo Chen stopped her eventually. Luo Chen didn't say a word and walked towards his own seat. However, at this exact moment, a red circle appeared in the video, indicating that it was Wan Shanshan's feet. Hence, all the media witnessed that in the next second, Wan Shanshan stretched out her leg on purpose to trip Luo Chen. The cup of coffee in Luo Chen's hand swayed and accidentally spilled onto Ling Xiaojia's clothes. What happened after that left the agitated media dumbfounded and shocked. Nobody expected that Luo Chen's explanation on Weibo was true. Such a short clip revealed a completely different truth. Nobody thought the truth was actually like this. Wan Shanshan, who seemed undaunted on the surface, deliberately acted provocative online. All those artists from Emperor Sky who stood up were probably accessories to a tyrant's crime, acting in cahoots with Wan Shanshan. The biggest victim, Ling Xiaojia, was actually the real bully of this entire incident. Gong Su, who was attacked, criticized and insulted by countless netizens, passers-by and media, was merely trying to stand up for his colleague and couldn't stand to let Ling Xiaojia bully others. Gong Su's actions were exactly the same, yet everyone felt that he had a big heart after watching it together with the first part of the video. After the clip ended, the entire hall fell into a pin-drop silence, and no one made a sound. Every reporter had reddened faces. They looked at one another and didn't know what to say at all. They boasted about being righteous and denounced Gong Su by word and pen for several days, but in the end, they actually got the wrong guy? On the contrary, the person whom they were protecting was the true shameless villain, the real tyrant who bullied others. Yi Wanwan's gaze was icy and sharp as she scanned the faces of every reporter present. This is the so-called victim that all of you were protecting? This is the crusade for justice that all of you were bragging about, huh? This is the explanation all of you wanted. I wonder if everyone is satisfied now. Listening to the sharp words spoken by Yi Wanwan, the reporters were embarrassed. How did this happen? Cough cough, a misunderstanding. So it was all a misunderstanding. The reporter who condemned and cursed Gong Su and Yi Wanwan earlier stuttered. But you can't really blame us, right? Who would have known that this would be the truth? We're just reporters, after all, not the police, right? It's inevitable we made such a mistake. When Yi Wanwan heard that, she strode towards that reporter, step by step. What do you want? As the reporter felt an intense pressure from her, he was forced to take a step back. Yi Wanwan glared at the reporter and retorted. "'Tis they not police? Since all of you aren't the police, who are you to replace the police, take over the law, incite the masses, instigate cyber violence and punish an innocent artist? Didn't you say very confidently earlier that with great power comes great responsibility? Since this is the case, as the media, all of you control the public's opinion, have the greatest power of speech and even control the future of an artist. Then isn't it your duty and responsibility to seek the truth? But right now the power of reporters and the media is being used to produce vulgar nonsense to please the crowds and increase views on your sites, a weapon to destroy others. Who gave you the right to do that? You hid behind the screen, tapped away on the keyboard and said all kinds of extremely vicious words about a stranger you barely knew and personally destroyed someone else's life just in order to vent, to follow suit with everyone else and maybe even just because of boredom. After you found out the truth, you simply brushed it off as a misunderstanding and minor mistake to counteract all you did to an innocent victim. So this is the attitude of the media, huh? All of you shameless media responsible for unrestrained cyber violence. Aren't you guys the garbage and scum of society? Could this reporter here and everyone else present today please answer my question? Each of Yi Wanwan's words was as sharp as a knife. I. The reporter stuttered. He broke out in sweat and couldn't say a word. There was a dead silence and none of the reporters made a sound. Gong Su stared at Yi Bai's face from beginning till end, watching his icy cold yet extremely reassuring expression, watching him reverse the endless hatred on him all by himself. His heart surged uncontrollably. Yi Wanwan paused and finally said, "As for the malicious slander against my artist, Gong Su, Dazzling Media reserves the right to pursue legal action against Wan Shanshan, Ling Xiaojia and all the other artists from Emperor Sky involved in this incident." The other higher-ups from dazzling media finally returned to their senses at this moment. We will hand over the rest of the matter to the legal department. This is the end of today's press conference. If you have any further questions, please arrange another meeting next time. Please leave the venue in an orderly manner, everyone. Yang Jinyuan was stunned and gasped in amazement as he looked at Yi Bai, who was young and even seemed inexperienced. He never thought Yi Bai could turn the situation around and save Gongsu. He even left the media speechless. At this moment, all the other staff members were probably thinking the same thing. They could already imagine what would happen after today's press conference was posted. Our director Yi is too awesome. He actually kept this ultimate move to himself. I understand now. It seems like Emperor Sky was trying to mess with us this time, but in fact they were all thrashed by our director Yi. Emperor Sky is really unlucky this time. It's definitely over for Wan Shanshan, and Ling Xiaozhi will lose his popularity. There were also over 10 other artists dragged into this as well. Let's go. Yi Wanwan's eyes turned slightly gentler as she looked at Gongsu and Luo Chen. Oh. Gongsu returned to his senses after a very long time. He stood up and followed behind Yi Wanwan obediently while Luo Chen walked next to him with his eyes still fixated on the youth. That night, the highly anticipated outcome of the press conference on the Gongsu bullying incident was finally revealed. The entire course of events was uploaded on the internet. After the truth was out, the entire internet was in an uproar. After the press conference, dozens of newspapers and magazines that originally misled the public and criticized Gongsu issued apologies which caused a huge sensation across the entire internet, which had never happened before. Every article covered the drastic turn of events this time and the headlines looked like, "Cyber violence is a kind of bullying," and "Death of media." Against bullying, but they became the bullies instead. Finally, even the public's opinion of Gongsu changed completely. The headlines became, "Restoring the Real Gongsu," and "Gongsu, the last clear stream in the entertainment industry." Chapter 694. Have some sense of shame. Previously, there was already quite a number of incidents like this. Netizens were misled by false information and started wars. After the truth came to light, it was usually too late to reverse the damage done to the victim. This time, because of Gongsu's fame and influence, the incident had huge repercussions. The entire internet launched into a discussion, and everybody reflected on it. The terrible thing about cyberviolence was that nobody cared about the truth. The acts of righteousness, committed by those unclear about the truth, were more dreadful than real evildoers. Please do not comment on things you don't know because what you see may not be the whole truth. The public's opinion would never represent the truth. At the same time, Gongsu's reputation had been reversed overnight and dazzling media's reputation improved greatly. Meanwhile, Emperor Sky Entertainment landed in hot water. In Emperor Sky's conference room, the PR director, Jiang Hua-sun, was enraged and thundered, "Wan Shanshan, you idiot! What were you thinking? Over 10 artists from Emperor Sky were dragged down by you this time. Forget about all you B and C list artists. Xiaozhi was implicated as well. What should we do now, huh?" Jiang. Director Jiang. I didn't know. I didn't know that Yi Bai would have the full video. Tears covered Wan Shanshan's face and her shoulders shuddered. She was cursing Yi Bai a million times over in her heart. These people praised me when I posted the video that time, and even used every method to add fuel to the fire. But now they're actually pushing all the blame onto me? But she couldn't say a word. She turned to the top managers and begged, "Sis Jiang, Director Jiang, please help me. I only posted that video to stand up for Xiaozhi." The man's face was gloomy. There was no way he could keep Wan Shanshan anymore. As for Ling Xiaozhi, he could only get him to say that he didn't know anything and force Wan Shanshan to take the fall. He had to reduce the impact as much as possible, otherwise he wouldn't know how to answer Chairman Gu and Director Yi. Jiang Hua-sun came to a decision very swiftly. "Wan Shanshan, because of your personal grudge, you incited trouble on purpose, then lied to your colleagues and slandered Gongsu. Go and issue an apology right now and announce your withdrawal from showbiz forever." Wan Shanshan's expression changed and she screamed. She was merely a C-list actress, and in a situation like this, She would definitely be the one sacrificed. She should have known this. Wan Shanshan was finally terrified. Facing the indifferent gazes of the higher-ups, she panicked and rushed over to Ling Xiaozhe. Xiaozhe, help me, you must help me. I did it for you. Ling Xiaozhe scrolled through the overwhelming amount of criticism on his phone, and was already very frustrated. So when he heard what Wan Shanshan said, he exploded in fury instantly. Get lost. You were the one who acted on your own initiative and dragged me into this mess. What does your fate have to do with me? A black car drove steadily on the road. Yi Wanwan, Gong Su and Luo Chen just ended their meeting at the office. Dong Zai was driving, and on the passenger seats, Yi Wanwan sat in the middle, while on her left was Luo Chen and on her right was Gong Su, who was busy scrolling through Weibo. Gong Su, the last clear stream in the entertainment industry. Gong Su, a true hero. Ah, Gong Su, you're the purest, the most genuine, the most flamboyant, the cutest. Gong Su scanned through the posts and just had to read the shameless praise out loud. He rolled around in his seat excitedly. Young master has never been complimented this way before. Aya, so young master is actually so lovable, eh? Certainly, you'll definitely shine if you're gold, he. Yi Wanwan really didn't want to admit that the idiot next to her was her artist. Where's your sense of shame? Chapter 695. I'll marry you for sure. When Gong Su was done rolling around, he sat upright and looked at Yi Wanwan with glistening eyes, then stared at her without blinking. Yiji, you're too cool. If I was a woman, I'd marry you for sure. No. Even though I'm a guy, I'd like to marry you as well. Hoo. The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Can this guy have some class? Can he be half as reserved as Luo Chen? Yi Wanwan continued looking in the direction where the discussion was going online. And to her surprise, she found something unexpected. Yi Wanwan. What is it? What is it, Yi Ji? Gong Su immediately leaned over to probe like a curious baby. Yi Wanwan raised her brows and glanced at both Gong Su and Luo Chen a couple times. This is quite a great idea. What great idea? Yi Ji, what are you talking about? Gong Su mumbled. He sensed that the way Yi Ji was looking at him was a little creepy. Yi Wanwan chuckled. This incident has gotten you and Luo Chen a big batch of, CP1 fans. Gong Su was stunned. What? CP fans? Yi Ji, did you get it wrong? How could I possibly have CP fans with a man? Luo Chen was confused as well. Yi Wanwan. Read it yourself. The two of them followed Yi Wanwan's gaze and looked at her phone. Immediately, they saw some comments which made them feel quite unsure. Oh God. I just watched the video again. My little tyrant Gong is too dashing. Too manly. I'm a fan now. My legs go wobbly just looking at his arrogant self. The comments in front were still quite normal and Gong Su enjoying reading them, but once they reached the end, the comments didn't seem right anymore. I thought Gong Su and Luo Chen were at odds with each other at first. So it's a love-hate relationship, huh? Feels like someone shielding his wife? Gong Su is definitely deeply in love with Luo Chen. I'll eat this dog food willingly. Gong Su's face darkened as he read. What nonsense is this? What do they mean? What love-hate relationship? Shielding his wife? What dog food? Luo Chen's face was darker than Gong Su's. Although he didn't follow anything online closely, he still understood what these people meant. Damn it, are these people blind? They actually said I'm gay. And with this dork. Gong Su exploded in anger and bellowed all of a sudden. Am I someone with no morals, huh? Even if I'm gay, I'll only be with Yi Ji, alright? Why don't you just shut up? Yi Wanwan glanced at him, expressionless. Sorry, even if I was into men, it wouldn't be you. Gong Su was dumbfounded and looked as if he just received a big blow. Damn. Why? Why not me? I'm so handsome. I kill both men and women with my looks. Yi Ji, how's your arm? Should we go to the hospital to take a look at it? At this moment, Luo Chen was staring at Yi Wanwan's arm, worried. When Gong Su heard that, his expression became serious as well. Yi Ji, let's take you to the hospital to have it checked first. That bloody bastard. Young master's not going to let him off. Alright, don't panic. It's just a small injury. Yi Wanwan waved them off. At present, a car was already near the apartment, and after Yi Wanwan spoke, she saw a tall and foreboding shadow standing in the dark and windy night from the corners of her eyes. After seeing that person, Yi Wanwan's heart skipped a beat, and she instinctively glanced at her injured arm. A chill ran down her spine. I'm doomed, I'm doomed. 1. Internet slang for couple. Chapter 696. Raging Sea of Jealousy. Yi, we've arrived, Dongzai announced. Alright, you two have an early night. I'll get going. Yi Wanwan got out of the car hurriedly. Luo Chen lived in the block next to her, and after saying goodbye, he entered the building. Yi. Gong Su wanted to say something to Yi Wanwan initially, but she had already left. Gong Su looked strangely at Yi Bai as he got off urgently. What happened? I haven't seen that look on his face before. It's as if a great enemy is approaching. Yi Wanwan rushed to see Yi Han. Ajio, when did you come over? Why are you standing here? Why didn't you go inside instead? It's so cold out here. Yi Wanwan spoke while she tried to calm herself down. Yi Han rarely paid any attention to the gossip online, so he definitely didn't know about what happened at the press conference. This little injury of hers would become a scar within a day or two, and it didn't matter even if he found out by then. Yi Wanwan reasoned through everything very well, however. The moment she finished speaking, the man standing before her looked at her plainly and said, "You've broken the rules." Yi Wanwan. It was as if that voice came from a snow-capped mountain that was 5 kilometers above sea level. She felt so cold that her body trembled uncontrollably, and all her hope shattered instantly. It was simply naive of her to attempt to bluff her way out with Yi Han. As Yi Han had been so lenient these past few days, she had forgotten how terrifying this man could be. At this moment, he didn't have a single tinge of warmth on his body. His gaze was cold and foreboding. It seemed like he was really angry. Sorry, it was an accident this time, but it was just a small injury. Look at it if you don't believe me. In order to prove it, Yi Wanwan quickly lifted her sleeve and revealed that the little wound wasn't even an inch wide. However, Yi Wanwan quickly realized what a huge mistake she was making. After seeing her wound, Yi Han's face became scarier, and she caught a glimpse of the Yi Han she knew from before her rebirth. The one who was irrational and didn't have any emotions, like a wild beast that could lose control anytime. Yi Wanwan realized she had been too relaxed recently, and had forgotten how scary this person was. Yi Han's gaze was colder than the moonlight above. He continued staring at her as he said, "Do you like him?" Who? Yi Wanwan was stunned by his question that came out of nowhere. It took her a good few seconds to realize who he was referring to. Damn. What a huge misunderstanding. Yi Han wouldn't think there's something going on between me and Gong Su, right? How is that possible? How exactly did such a frightening misunderstanding arise? Yi Wanwan was racking her brains for a way to explain and appease him, but right at this moment, Gong Su's loud voice resounded from behind her. Yi, why did you run off so quickly? My villa is too far away, and I'm too lazy to go back. I got Dongzai to take the car. I'll sleep with you tonight instead. The second Gong Su's words came out, Yi Wanwan felt an intangible and ominous wind from hell rising up. What the hell do you mean, sleep with me tonight? All these artists she was grooming were all so troublesome, and this one was simply driving her to her death. Yi Wanwan's face was rigid. No way. Go back to where you're supposed to be. Seeing that Yi Wanwan had rejected him without any hesitation, Gong Su's face fell. Why? I'm already here anyway. Just take me in. Yi Wanwan suppressed the fury within. I have a guest tonight. Chapter 697. Can only use the ultimate move. Gong Su stretched his head and looked over. It was only then that he finally noticed the figure hidden in the shadows. Why does this person look so familiar? Gong Su only caught a glimpse of his face outside the bar that night, but because he left such a deep impression, he couldn't forget him even if he wanted to. Isn't that the friend who went to fetch Yi Ji that night? That time, he almost misunderstood Yi Ji's relationship with that man. Why is this person at Yi Ji's place at this hour? And why is this person looking at me? with such a terrifying gaze. Even though Gong Su felt that something was off, he was thick-skinned and in a terrific mood that night, so he didn't think much of it and walked over to Yi Wanwan. He spoke in a generous and easygoing manner. "No problem, Yi Ji. It's fine if you have a guest. He won't be staying long anyway, right? I don't mind." "Don't mind your butt, Yi Wanwan." At this very moment, Yi Wanwan had a strong urge to strangle this fool. She took a careful glance at Si Yi Han, just a glance, and that expression made her heart jump in fear. Si Yi Han's gaze brushed past Yi Wanwan and Gong Su, and he said in a low and hoarse voice, "Guest?" When Yi Wanwan saw Si Yi Han's expression and heard the tone he used, she knew he was raging mad. Yi Wanwan had a headache and supported her head with her hand as she wailed in anguish inside. "Beauty baby, why are you throwing a tantrum now? You clearly know that because of my disguise, that was the only answer I could give. There was no other meaning to it. And if Si Yi Han thought hard, he should know that she couldn't just leave him there and run off with Gong Su to cheat on him, right? Also, he shouldn't have so little confidence in himself, right? Darn it, it must be because Si Xiao mentioned that wildflowers would gradually dazzle the eyes, and said I would eventually be seduced by young and fresh meat in the entertainment industry." Yi Wanwan moved in a little closer, and spoke at a volume that was audible only to the two of them. "Si Yi Han, I've already explained this many times. No matter whether it's Luo Chun or Gong Su, they are just my artists and I saved him during the press conference today because it was my responsibility. What he said just now was only due to the fact that I am a man in his eye. There's no other meaning to it. It doesn't make sense for you to be jealous over this. Can you stop being unreasonable?" "Tisk unreasonable, very well then." Si Yi Han chuckled and spoke slowly in a frosty tone that caused her to shudder. Yi Wanwan wanted to slap herself. Why did I say the wrong thing again? Seriously, the more flustered I am, the more mistakes I make. She knew she couldn't reason things out with this person standing before her. It was the same logic used as when one's girlfriend was angry. One shouldn't try to reason with her. Yi Wanwan was mad, anxious and vexed all at the same time. She had a stomachful of anger, and she loosened the tie around her neck in annoyance. After that, her eyes shot straight towards the culprit not far off. "Gong Su, get over here." "Ah, me? What is it, Yi Ji?" Gong Su pointed at himself innocently and made his way over carefully. "Why does Yi Ji look so scary? Did I do something wrong?" Yi Wanwan threw her tie on the ground, then strode over to the icy-looking great devil, who was on the verge of exploding. "Watch this carefully." Yi Wanwan tilted her head to gesture at Gong Su, then she stretched her fair and delicate hand out, grabbed Si Yi Han's collar, lowered his neck and kissed his thin and cool lips forcefully. Chapter 698. You're not seeing things. I'm into men. Si Yi Han probably didn't expect Yi Wanwan would kiss him all of a sudden. As her breath closed in on him and enveloped him, when her slender fingers tugged his collar with force, when her soft and warm lips touched his, that force deep inside him that nearly tore him apart was immediately soothed. Shortly after, it turned into a more reckless and heated emotion. At this point, there was a loud explosion in Gong Su's head. He was flabbergasted. His car keys and phone in his hand fell to the ground. He stood there in a daze and his mouth was open so wide that it could fit an egg inside. Shit. What did I just see? My eyes. Yi Ji just voluntarily kissed a man. What is going on here? I must be crazy. No. There must have been something wrong with the way he got out of the car just now. Gong Su watched as the two men kissed, and he was in total confusion. All the hairs on his body were on end. After Yi Wanwan was done kissing the man, she turned to Gong Su casually and asked, "Did you see that?" Gong Su was stunned for a good 10 seconds before he nodded, then shook his head. Finally, he held his head and took 2 steps back. He couldn't even speak coherently anymore as he said, Yi Ji, you guys are you playing around with me? Ha ha ha, is it April Fool's today? It must be too dark here, or maybe I'm just too excited tonight, so I develop some hallucinations. That must be it, that must be ha 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 ha. Yi Wanwan. You weren't seeing things. I'm into men. Yi Wanwan's reply completely destroyed all the excuses Gong Su came up with. Gongsu Yuanwan. He's not a guest, he's my boyfriend, we're lovers. Gongsu Yuanwan. So I can't have you over tonight. Do you get it now? Gongsu, poor Gongsu. As the amount of new information was massive, he was totally dumbstruck. After a long time, Gongsu finally got some of his sanity back. He swallowed hard and spoke in utter disbelief. Yi, are you for real? You're really into men? Didn't you say you have a girlfriend? Luo Chun and Mu Fanji said you have a girlfriend, and that you're definitely not gay. Yuanwan. I am. I said I have a girlfriend only as a cover. Luo Chun and Han Xian, you have no idea about this. Yuanwan didn't expect that after she racked her brains and had been so careful all this time that she would actually stumble from Gongsu. Truly, a weak teammate did you more harm than a strong enemy. It was most crucial to pacify the great devil. And in order to pacify Si Han, she didn't care what she had to do anymore. Gongsu stood rooted to the ground and his expression was hard to describe. So you're saying that you and this guy are really having that kind of relationship? Yuanwan nodded. That's right. Didn't you ask me before if I was into men, and what kind I would like? Now I'll officially introduce you to my boyfriend. Yuanwan made it so plain and clear that Gongsu had to believe her, even if he didn't before. The shadow in his heart spread like the sea. My manager is actually really gay. Chapter 699. Want to be held captive by you for life? Give Dongzai a call and get him to drive the car back. Go home early and get some rest. Yuanwan held Si Han's hand after speaking. She turned around and walked towards the apartment building immediately. Wait. Behind her, Gongsu stood in the cold night, dumbfounded. Rest my ass. How am I going to fall asleep tonight? So bro, are you just going to leave me here all alone? At this current moment, he finally believed Yi Ji was really into men. This was truly the act of hoes before bros. What was with this strange and miserable feeling of abandonment? Ding. The elevator arrived and Yuanwan pulled Si Han to enter it. The two of them stood in silence in the elevator. Neither of them spoke a word. Si Han's gaze was on her the whole time. Shortly after, they arrived and walked out of the lift together. It was only after they reached the door that Yuanwan let go of his hand and pulled out the keys to open the door. Si Han followed behind her and entered. Click. The front door opened and was shut again. Change into slippers. Yuanwan bent over and took out a pair of slippers for Si Han from the shoe cabinet. The moment she stood up, she felt a tight grip around her waist. His burning breath suddenly came over her and attacked all her senses at once. His canine teeth brushed across her tender lips and pried open her jaw aggressively to rob more and more of her gentleness and sweetness. Hey! Yuanwan was in pain. Her brows furrowed slightly and she took a step back. However, this careless dodge immediately attracted even more intense aggression. Her body was pressed against the ice-cold wall behind her. In front of her was his boiling chest that was rising and falling violently. It was as if his entire body had been engulfed in fire and ice for 2 whole days. His slightly rough fingers explored her hips and shifted upwards slowly from her soft yet strong waist. To be safe, Yuanwan's chest area was usually bound by a piece of cloth and his fingers were obstructed. Si Han became even more agitated because of this and his hands moved with more force. Yuanwan was helpless. She tilted her head slightly to avoid his kiss, placed her fingers on the back of his hand and soothed him gently. Still angry? I actually disregarded my own image and came out of the closet in front of my own artist just for you. Si Han lowered his gaze and stared straight at her. Those black pupils were akin to a vortex in the deep sea. Dangerous yet captivating. Si Han. You're not allowed to look at him. This isn't very reasonable, is it? How can I not look at him? Do I cover my eyes each time I see him? But Yuanwan learned to be good this time. And no matter how unreasonable Si Han's request was, she simply nodded her head nonstop. I won't. Other than you, whether human or not, they're just fleeting clouds, alright? Furthermore, what's there to look at? He hurts my eyes. Gongsu, who was still bitterly waiting downstairs for his assistant to drive back, sneezed loudly all of a sudden. Si Yihan tightened his grip on her and warned her in an icy tone. Don't forget the consequences of violating the agreement. When Yi Wanwan heard his foreboding and cold voice, she was supposed to be petrified, but her heart softened instead and she giggled softly. The corners of her lips lifted into a languid smile. And what will happen? A lifetime of captivity? I suddenly really want to violate the agreement. Chapter 700. Quick, kiss me. Hearing her reply, heat waves immediately emerged in Si Yihan's obsidian-colored eyes. The heat was enough to melt a person. Yi Wanwan could clearly see the desire to rush out of the water gate from his eyes. Oops. Oh dear. I went too far. The moment Si Yihan's mouth approached her again, Yi Wanwan hurriedly smushed her head onto his chest and said pitifully, I was so busy the whole day that I haven't eaten anything. I'm so hungry. I want to have some noodles, but my hand hurts. Si Yihan looked at her quietly from a distance so close that she could smell his breath. How could he not know what Yi Wanwan was thinking about? She was so daring to stir up his emotions then quickly run away each time. He bit her lips hard then strode over to the fridge. The apron is hanging at the side of the fridge. I'll get it for you. Yi Wanwan skipped over cleverly and took out a pink apron that was a free gift from the supermarket with the image of Hello Kitty printed on it. Si Yihan looked disapprovingly at the apron and was obviously very unwilling to put it on, but seeing Yi Wanwan holding it up with eager expectations, he finally held his arms open. Wait a minute. Do you know how to cook noodles? Yi Wanwan suddenly asked. Si Yihan shot her a look of disdain out of the corners of his eyes. Yi Wanwan smiled guiltily and said, all right, my bad. How could you not know how to cook noodles, right? Si Yihan had just entered the kitchen when Yi Wanwan's phone started ringing suddenly. The caller ID indicated that it was Su Yi. Yi Wanwan answered the call. Hello? Housekeeper Su? The second the call was connected, Su Yi's urgent voice came through the receiver. Miss Wanwan, are you all right? I'm already at your apartment building. 11 and Feng Xian Yi are on the way as well. Please hang in there, calm down and don't be rash. Yi Wanwan was totally confused. What are you talking about? What happened? Su Yi was taken aback by her questions. What happened? Isn't Master there yet? He raced over at a speed of 400 yards per hour, so he should be there by now. Raced over at a speed of 400 yards per hour. Master saw the video of you getting injured to protect Gong Su, and the worst part was the nonsensical comments appearing everywhere, saying things like you and Gong Su were very compatible. How can two men be compatible? What are these netizens thinking about? Su Yi spoke at his fastest speed and explained what happened. His voice shook the whole time. That housekeeper Su, Miss Wanwan, when Master finds you later, please remain calm, alright? We'll be arriving very soon. Su Yi urged repeatedly. Yi Wanwan coughed lightly and interrupted him again. Housekeeper Su, please calm down a little and let me say something, okay? When Yi Wanwan was done speaking, she tapped on the video icon and changed it to a video call. Then she directed the camera to the kitchen. In the next second, Su Yi saw his own master wearing a pink cartoon apron around his waist in the kitchen. The sleeves of his white shirt were rolled up messily, and he had a spatula in his hand. Then, in the video call, Su Yi froze. Yi Wanwan stood up and brought the phone to Si Yihan. Baby, look at me. Si Yihan turned to Yi Wanwan, and all he saw was her holding the phone to his face. Su Yi seemed to be in the small box on the screen. Yi Wanwan hopped over to Si Yihan and angled the front camera, so both Si Yihan and herself fit in the frame. Quick, kiss me. Your housekeeper is going nuts. Chapter 701. He was really very calm already. Si Yihan obviously wouldn't care about the details of his housekeeper going nuts and only heard the first part when Yi Wanwan said, Quick, kiss me. He placed the noodles into the pot calmly, then leaned his head over slightly and planted a kiss on Yi Wanwan's cheeks cooperatively. After that, he continued cutting the ham sausage. Yi Wanwan grinned and looked at her phone. Are you calmer now, housekeeper Su? Su Yi, calm, too calm. Yi Wanwan. Is there anything else? Su Yi. No. Sorry to interrupt the both of you. Just pretend I wasn't here at all. The screen went black. A certain housekeeper was both mentally and physically traumatized and hung up the call. In order to let Sui feel more at ease, Yuanwan thoughtfully sent him several photos of Si-Han cooking. In the end, Sui had to beg her to stop sending. He was really very calm already. After waiting a long time, Si-Han was finally done cooking the noodles. Yuanwan looked at the soup noodles on the dining table and raised her brows, slightly taken aback. The noodles were cooked with perfect timing. They weren't too soft or half-cooked. There was a sunny side up and a few slices of ham sausage lying on top, and green onion and fresh vegetables floated on top of the soup, making it look extremely appetizing. For the Si-Han who was above common mortals, she didn't have very high expectations for his cooking, and only thought he knew how to make food edible. In the end, he was actually pretty good. Si-Han passed her a pair of chopsticks and sat across her at the dining table, without a word. Looks really good, huh? You actually know how to cook noodles. When did you learn it? Yuanwan took a bite, and her eyes glistened. Wow. It's really delicious. Si-Han was seemingly unhappy with Yuanwan's choice of words. Do I need to learn? Yuanwan buried her head and slurped the noodles. No need, no need. It's just a simple task. With my baby's IQ, why would he need to learn, eh? Hearing that, Si-Han's expression and gentler. At the same time, Jean Garden. The chef and several servants at Jean Garden looked at the blackened stoves and the mess on the kitchen floor with tears streaming down their faces. Each one of them prayed and hoped that the ninth master would let the kitchen off. How many times has he caused an explosion? Why does our master have so many terrifying hobbies all of a sudden? This is tiring. At night, Si-Han stayed overnight at her apartment. Yuanwan removed her makeup, showered and changed into her soft pajamas. Meanwhile, Si-Han already made himself comfortable lying on the bed. This feeling of eating my fill and having a beauty on my bed is too perfect. Seeing that Yuanwan was coming over, Si-Han placed the book in his hands down. Give me your hand. Yuanwan quickly pacified him. It's really just a small injury and it's already healing. I used plastic wrap to protect it while bathing and it didn't get wet at all. Si-Han checked over and over again before he eased up. Yuanwan stared at the man's concentrating face. You're going to Old Son's for a checkup tomorrow, right? Si-Han, in. Yuanwan mumbled. Your health has been quite stable recently and you don't really have a problem falling asleep anymore. There shouldn't be any big issues. But why did Old Son look so strange before? It seemed as if he had something he couldn't say and he didn't explain when I asked him. He only said that he would discuss it further after this upcoming checkup. Could it be that there are some other problems with Si-Han's health again? Chapter 702. Dark red mark. Forget it. There's no point in letting my thoughts run wild now. We'll know the details once the results are out tomorrow. The next morning, Yuanwan and Si-Han got up and finished their breakfast, then they both rushed off to work. As Si-Han's health was quite stable now, he was able to go to the office. Although Yuanwan was still worried about him, if Si-Han still didn't show his face at the office, it would cause panic considering the current situation in the Si family, so he had to show up at the office from time to time. It would be fine as long as he didn't stress himself out. During this period of time, Yuanwan learned quite a bit from Si-Han too. It was just that she hadn't put her new knowledge to practice or gotten involved in the company's affairs on her own. This looks good. Yuanwan picked a dark red tie for Si-Han. She had just tightened it when something came to mind, and she suddenly turned to the direction of the apartment door. Oh wait. Yuanwan thought about something. She then suddenly had her claws out, removed the tie she just fastened and ripped open Si-Han's collar from his immaculate shirt. Si-Han lowered his gaze and gave her a doubtful look. Yuanwan commanded, "Get lower." Even though Si-Han didn't know what Yuanwan wanted to do, he still followed her instructions and leaned over slightly. Yuanwan's eyes landed on Si-Han's neckline. She grabbed onto his shoulders and placed her soft lips on his collarbone. Before Si-Han could react, he felt a sharp pain around his collarbone. Aside from the pain, he also felt a numbing sensation. Si-Han's eyes squinted dangerously, and he looked at the girl who nibbled on his collarbone all of a sudden. The girl's love bite left a small questionable pink blotch. Yi Wanwan glanced at the door again, then grinned like a little sly fox. She stared at her own work, satisfied. All right. Perfect. Now we can leave. Yi Wanwan walked over to the door. Swish. She pulled the door open, and in the next second, there was a bang. A fluorescent figure rolled into the apartment. Gongsu stood up and patted the dust away from his body, embarrassed. He pretended to be calm and greeted her. Ha-hee-hee-hee. Yiji more morning. Yi Wanwan crossed her arms. She pretended to be unruffled and looked at the person who was sneaking around her door bright and early in the morning. Then she replied faintly. Morning. Gongsu scratched his head and stammered. Aha, aren't we going to the filming site to visit Luo Chen? I thought I might as well just wait here for you and head over together. I just reached your door and you opened it right away. What a coincidence, really. The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched when she heard that. Coincidence, my ass. I bet this fool has been squatting here all night. With that dreadful curiosity of Gongsu and his persistence on getting to the bottom of the matter, he would definitely do something like that. Gongsu spoke as his eyes kept scanning the two of them. Although they were both men, one was lazy and content while the other was rigid and quiet. They were really incompatible. But he thought about it all night and still didn't believe that his future wife's older brother was really into men. Until his gaze landed on the man's neckline. An overbearing dark red mark loomed on the man's neckline, revealed what happened last night. Gongsu. Chapter 703. Do you like kids? Ouch. Gongsu bit his own sleeves with a tear-stained face. Yi Ji, who usually looked so indifferent, stern and hard to reason with, actually had such a passionate side to him. Why do I feel so upset about this? Yi Wanwan obviously noticed Gongsu's reaction, and seeing that she achieved her goal, she turned to Si Yi Han. I'll pick you up at the office tonight. Si Yi Han. Hold on. Didn't you forget something? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Si Yi Han stopped in his tracks, willingly leaned over and kissed her on her lips, leaving a goodbye kiss. Gongsu, who was at the side. Excuse me, can you guys see me? There's a big living person right here. From last night till this morning, Yi Wanwan's pacifying could be said to be done very well. She didn't overlook any areas, so this crisis had finally been resolved. On the way to the filming site, Gongsu had two big panda eyes as he said, Yi Ji, you're so handsome. It's not hard for you to find a pretty woman. Why do you want to be with a man? Yi Wanwan. I'm naturally fond of men. Yi Wanwan's reply killed the conversation instantly, and Gongsu didn't say a single word thereafter. And Yi Wanwan didn't say anything wrong. It was the truth. Yi Wanwan didn't speak any further either. With Gongsu's character, it was better to give him some time to digest the information, but if it was Luo Chen, he probably wouldn't be able to ever digest it. At night, Sun Baichao's private residence. As usual, Old Sun did a thorough checkup of Si Yi Han's condition. After the checkup was done, Yi Wanwan quickly stepped forward to inquire, Old Sun, how's Audiobook? Sun Baichao replied, almost the same as last time. Although the underlying illness has not been cured, it's already a miracle for his condition to remain so stable. Sun Baichao looked at Yi Wanwan and was deeply moved. Miss Yi, I guess you invested quite a bit of effort, didn't you? With Si Yi Han's condition, everything would be for naught if one was slightly careless. The amount of effort she put in was unimaginable. Furthermore, she had such a great deal of pressure on her. Old Sun, you speak too highly of me. It was all thanks to your brilliant medical expertise. Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief but still felt that Sun Baichao was hiding something from her. Back on the road. Do you like kids? Si Yi Han suddenly asked Yi Wanwan this question out of the blue. Huh. Kids. Yi Wanwan was taken aback. And do you like kids? Si Yi Han repeated. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and muttered. Why would you ask this question all of a sudden? Si Yi Han. I might not be able to have an heir. Yi Wanwan was stunned when she heard him. So this was why Sun Baichao was acting weird. It was probably because Si Yi Han's condition is too serious that it injured his foundation. However, what surprised her the most was how directly Si Yi Han told her. Yi Wanwan returned to her senses after some time and said in a relaxed manner, Actually, I'm just alright with kids. They can be quite troublesome. In the past, those little nieces and nephews at home were too mischievous. If they're well-behaved, sensible, obedient and cute, it's not too bad, but most of them are little devils. It'd be worrying if we had one of those. Also, what era are we in right now? There are so many dinks out there now, and it's pretty nice to have just the two of us, so why should we have kids? Mini Theater Little Devil put on a little iceberg face and said expressionlessly, "Mommy, I'm well-behaved, sensible, obedient and cute. Nameless Nya. Where's your sense of shame, eh? Who gave you the guts to say these things?" Chapter 704. The world is beautiful because of you. There was a dull silence in the car. The man regained his elusive, distant and mysterious aura once again. It was as if aside from existing on this planet, this person was completely incompatible with this place. Yi Wanwan wasn't sure why, but she realized that she didn't like seeing such a cold and empty expression on Si Yihan's face. Yi Wanwan smiled and looked at him. "Don't look so glum, come on. What's the big deal? Be a little happier. There are still many beautiful things in this world." Si Yihan's eyes melted into the dark night outside the car windows. "Really?" Yi Wanwan took out a piece of chocolate from her pocket and gently placed it into his mouth. Of course. The sweetness melted in his mouth, but her smile was sweeter than the chocolate, melting his heart. Si Yihan looked down and slowly encircled her into his embrace. "Wanwan, this world isn't beautiful. But because you're here, it is." Although Si Yihan didn't say the last phrase, Yi Wanwan roughly figured out what he meant. In her previous life, Yi Wanwan never really tried to get to know this man. She feared and detested his craziness and perverted desire to control. She hated that she was the one who was confined by him. That was until she slowly realized that everything he did was solely because she was the only one who existed in his world. Everything this man did was because he was too afraid of losing her. But why? She was just an ordinary person and had nothing in common with Si Yihan. So where did his intense feelings towards her come from? After the turn in events regarding Gong Su's bullying incident, Emperor Sky suffered significant damages, and even when Emperor Sky kicked Wan Shanshan out, the media and netizens weren't fools. Everyone knew what they were trying to do. Those artists who were involved in the incident were affected as well, and one of the artists who suffered the greatest blow was Ling Xiaojia. Although he explained that he had no idea Wan Shanshan tripped Luo Chen on purpose, his bossy attitude still toppled his former image, causing many fans to feel disgusted by him. The fans started to abandon him as they felt they'd been cheated and lied to. Sometimes the entertainment industry was like that. You kept molding yourself into a kind-hearted and righteous victim. But one day, if you did one bad thing, it would cause an overwhelming disappointment. Just like Gong Su, who used to be insulted badly in the past, he simply had to do one good deed and everyone changed their opinions about him. However, at least Ling Xiaojia had his acting abilities to hold on to. The gossip would fade away after some time, and would only affect him marginally afterward. As for Gong Su, thankfully, each time Yi Wanwan thought about Luo Chen, she felt more at ease. They were putting the finishing touches on Terrifying Dragon 2 today, so Yi Wanwan especially made a trip down to the filming site. The moment she arrived, she saw Song Jinlin throwing a fit. "What's with all these flowery fists and fancy footwork? Didn't I ask you to find someone decent?" "Director, these people are just walk-on artists. It's already considered not bad that they know a few moves. We can't expect them to leap onto roofs and jump over walls, right?" The head received Song Jinlin's stern gaze and felt guilty immediately. "I'll continue looking right away. I'll continue looking. What's wrong, Zhangji?" Yi Wanwan asked casually. Zhang Hua was the head of all the artists, and was in charge of looking for walk-on artists. At this moment, he looked as if he was having a major headache. Chapter 705. Considered acquaintances for now. After Song Jinlin walked away, Zhang Hua complained helplessly, "We need a couple walk-on artists who are skilled in martial arts for this scene. And I found quite a number of them for Director Song," but he wasn't satisfied at all. These artists who play such small roles are mostly amateurs, and even if they're professionals, not many of them are trained. How am I going to find artists who have outstanding martial arts skills, Yi Wanwan burst out in laughter when she heard that. It was truly Song Jinlin's way of doing things. Filming a drama series like a movie, insisting on perfection for every frame. Director Yi. I can't chat with you anymore. I gotta go find more people. Otherwise, I'm afraid we won't be able to do the finishing touches today. Sure, go on. The filming location today was close to an old, dilapidated bridge. When they arrived on site, the stage production crew was clearing up the place, but there seemed to be an issue. Xiaochen was quarreling with someone on the bridge. Once Yi Wanwan took a closer look, she was stunned. Oh, an acquaintance? Or rather, they can be considered acquaintances for now. On the bridge, there was a man dressed in garish colors, disguised as a woman. He was lying on the floor like he didn't have any bones. Next to him was a stretcher with a person lying on it, and a sign was placed next to it. My husband is terminally ill. Please give us some money for his medical fees, kind soul. Standing opposite was that Taoist devotee who acted ostentatiously and swindled people. All three of them were in tattered clothing, no different from beggars. I'm sorry, I'm part of the crew and we will be filming under the bridge, so I have to trouble all of you to move away for the time being as we can't have anyone in the vicinity. It's almost the end of the month. We have to report our performance soon and time is money, hubby, aren't I right? The man on the stretcher didn't even move like he could sleep till the end of time. Of these two people, one of them was clearly a man pretending to be a woman while the other one was obviously feigning sickness. Were they really counting on this to get some money? Did they think everyone else was blind? The corners of Xiaochen's lips twitched a little. She thought they were just trying to extort some money. She didn't want to continue arguing with these people anyway, so she asked, "How much to make you guys leave?" When the crossdresser heard that, he suddenly turned serious. "Hey miss, please show us some respect. We only accept honest income for efforts. Please don't insult our integrity." Black lines covered Xiaochen's head. "Are you guys looking for trouble on purpose? No, a gentleman makes money the right way. Miss, why doesn't this poor devotee read your fortune for you?" The crossdresser stood up immediately, pointed at the devotee's nose and raged. "Hey, stinking devotee, why don't you find somewhere else to read fortunes? Why must you steal my business, Bloody vixen, is this your home? Both of you stop fighting. Are you guys leaving or not?" Xiaochen was fuming as she tried to make them leave. When she saw Yi Wanwan coming over, her cheeks reddened instantly. "Yi Ji, you're here. What's going on?" Yi Wanwan took a sweeping glance at those people. Xiaochen replied in frustration. "We have to shoot here today, so I'm clearing the area, but these people won't leave. They're nuts. Were they sent by the production team next door to cause trouble for us?" "Yi Wanwan, you're overthinking. They're not here to cause trouble. They're really nuts." Once the devotee saw Yi Wanwan, his eyes lit up in an instant. "A famous Yi." Before he was done speaking, she immediately shot an icy glare over. The devotee shut his mouth obediently with an expression that read, I got it. Chapter 706, Very honest and legal spray of flowers, who was disguised as a woman, sized Yi Wanwan up and got interested as he muttered, "Io, kindred spirit." Yi Wanwan turned to Xiaochen and said, "Xiaochen, go busy yourself. I'll talk to these people here." How can I do that?" Xiaochen's cheeks turned redder. "It's nothing." "Hey." Xiaochen, at this moment, someone called for Xiaochen to go over. Then, "All right. Sorry to trouble you, Yi Ji. These people have nothing better to do. If they still refuse to move, I'll get security to chase them away later." As someone needed her urgently, she had no choice but to thank Yi Wanwan and leave. Okay. After Xiaochen left, the three people were unmoving mountains and continued to occupy the precious feng shui ground. They didn't seem to have any intentions of moving at all. "I owe security? I'm so scared. I'm not even afraid of law enforcers. Why would I be afraid of security, huh?" Yi Wanwan laughed. "Trying to earn some money? I have a job for all of you here." The cross-dresser had a rice straw in his mouth. He looked icily arrogant and scoffed in disdain. "TSK, what did I just hear? You want to hire us? What a big appetite. The devotee spoke in a profound manner. Ye little bro, you better speak cautiously. You can't afford any single one of us here. Yuan nodded. Oh, then may I know how much it will cost to hire all of you? The crossdresser spat. I've never accepted a job below the price of 100 million. The devotee sneered. Bloody ladyboy, what are you bragging for? So what if it's 100 million? This poor devotee's highest record is 1 billion. After which, he touched the dust in his hands and said to Yuan, the three of us, including the one who's lying down, will not be less than 50 million. The corners of Yuan's lips twitched as she listened to their bragging. Can we bargain and make it slightly cheaper? The cross-dresser said arrogantly. I don't ever negotiate on a price. The devotee smiled. If it's for you, beauty, this poor devotee can give you a special discount of 10%. Yuan nodded. Oh, 100 per person. Are you guys in or not? Crossdresser, devotee. 100. Are you insulting me? The crossdresser screamed. The devotee's expression was hard to describe. Little bro ye, I think you might have a little misunderstanding of the word bargain. Is that a no? Forget it then. Yuan turned around and walked away. The moment Yuan turned around, the devotee moved at lightning speed and appeared in front of her. Wait. Brother ye, I'll do it. As long as it doesn't go against my morals, doesn't require violence and is lawful. Yuan chuckled. I just need an extra. You just gotta act for a couple minutes. It's very easy and this is considered acting, not using violence. It's in line with all your requirements. It's extremely honest and legal. The devotee's eyes glistened immediately and he said eagerly, Deal. When can I start work? When can I get the money? Are meals provided? Damn it. You asshole. You're playing dirty, huh? The crossdresser yelled from behind. Boss, don't listen to him. I'm cheaper than him. I only want $80. Then at the corner, a muffled voice came from the stretcher. Boss, do you need any dead men? I can lie still an entire day for $50. Yuan. Before, when she accidentally witnessed that devotee beating up Yuan Sheng and the others, she knew he was no ordinary person judging by his skills. Now it seemed like he really wasn't ordinary, not the ordinary nutcase. Chapter 707. Pacifists. When Yuan brought the three of them over, Zhang Hua hadn't found anyone suitable yet, and was being rushed by Song Jinlin, who was burning with impatience. It was simply petrifying when Song Jinlin raged, so nobody dared to take on the part anymore. Zhang Ji, have you found anyone? Yuan brought the three people over. Not yet. Why don't you take these three and give them a go? This guy dressed as a devotee is pretty skilled, and if you need a corpse, you can use this guy with long hair. Thank you, Director Yi, for your recommendations. I'll let them try out right away. Zhang Hua was desperate at this point, and Yuan brought these three people over at the right time. Thus, he didn't care so much and thanked her quickly. He was simply giving medicine to a dead horse. He'd just try them out first and see how it went. As for this person who could play dead, he'd just take him in as a form of giving Director Yi some respect. It didn't cost him anything anyway. Zhang Hua prioritized the other two people and he asked them, Have you guys acted in fights before? At the filming site, there were all sorts of different costumes, so even though these two people were dressed weirdly, Zhang Hua didn't think much of it. The cross-dresser waved his hands, surprised. We are pacifists. We don't ever fight. The devotee placed his palms together and performed a Taoist gesture. This poor devotee here cultivates moral character and never uses violence. Zhang Hua panicked. That won't do. You must be able to fight later. Let me brief you guys. Both of you will be at different ends. Just follow the crowd and charge towards one another, then start fighting. You must be more intense when fighting. It must look like both of you have some deep hatred for one another and are in a struggle for life and death. Understand? That's too hard. Why don't we just go back to begging? Sir, why don't I read your fortune for you? Old Zhang, are you ready? Not far off, the director's assistant pressed him. All right. I'll get them in position right now. Zhang Hua replied and looked at those unreliable people helplessly. You guys, forget it. Just give it a try first. After Zhang Hua instructed them worriedly, filming finally began, and he was already prepared to receive more scoldings. 3, 2, 1, action. After filming started, dozens of masked men started fighting. There were dead bodies sprawled all over the ground, and others were simply there to fill up the spaces. Further away from the camera, there were 2 people who needed a close-up, so it was fairly demanding. They couldn't simply fight half-heartedly. Charge! The shouts of a group of people were accompanied by the sounds of weapons clashing. Within the crowd, the camera zoomed in on those 2 people leaping in the air and advancing towards each other. In the next second, there was a loud thump and the cross-dresser landed a punch on the devotee's body, letting out a horrifying sound. Swish! Both of them had their legs out at the same time and fought intensely. They were locked in battle. All the crew members were dumbfounded as they watched. They hadn't seen such professional artists for a very long time. Their fight was so realistic, and oh my god, those moves, they could feel the pain even when they were just watching. Zhang Hua's mouth was almost in the shape of an O. This is what they meant by "we don't ever fight." Also, are they really fighting or faking it? Yuan, it's just $100. They don't have to go all out, do they? I can hear the sounds of their bones ramming against each other even from where I'm standing. Do they have some sort of deep hatred for each other or something? They still dared to tell me they would only accept jobs that pay them billions? Who gave them the guts, huh? Chapter 708. First transaction of the day at last. This scene was over. Until the director yelled cut. The 2 of them were still locked in battle. It could even be said that they were very dedicated to their work. Yuan wasn't sure if it was her misperception, but she felt like these 2 people had suppressed their desire to fight with one another for a very long time. Song Jinlin was very pleased with the results. He flashed a rare smile towards Zhang Hua and said, "Not bad. Their moves and emotions were very well executed. Where did you find these 2 people?" Zhang Hua smiled widely and replied, It wasn't me but Director Yi. He's remarkable. I simply mentioned it to him and he brought these 2 to me. He's amazing." Song Jinlin turned to Yi Wanwan with surprise. "Sorry to trouble you, Director Yi." He had quite a good impression of Yi Bai. Although Yi Bai was young, he was very meticulous, not proud nor impatient, and the artists he brought were all very dependable as well. Of course, he wasn't going to comment on Gong Su, who was an exception. "Director Song, you're too courteous. It was just a small matter." Song Jinlin nodded before he asked, "Terrifying Dragon 2 is coming to an end soon. Do you have any plans for Luo Chen?" Luo Chen had only acted in 2 drama series ever since his debut, Terrifying Dragon 1 and Terrifying Dragon 2. Terrifying Dragon 1 allowed him to rise in fame overnight, while Terrifying Dragon 2 helped him make a smooth comeback. His 3rd show would be a crucial step to determine whether or not he could have a stable footing in this industry, so Yuan had to be extremely careful as well. Judging by Song Jinlin's tone, he seemed to have some plans for Luo Chen. Hence, Yuan replied honestly, "I have a few scripts on hand right now, but unfortunately, there's nothing really suitable. Whether his next show will be a big hit or attract a large audience aren't the most important things, but the quality of his performance and the public's opinion must be good. I don't want Luo Chen to become just a popular internet celebrity. That would be such a waste of his talents." Song Jinlin's face was filled with admiration. "Luo Chen is very lucky to have a manager like you. If it was someone else, they might take the chance to fish up any assignments they can get their hands on when this series explodes in popularity, accepting hideous and lousy films and wasting the kids' talents. I've seen many artists like this." Yuan laughed. "It's also because he's hardworking and talented, so I dared to stake everything on him. I wouldn't dare do that if it was someone else. After all, everyone needs to earn a living." Hearing that, Song Jinlin felt Yi Bai was rather practical and smiled. "How about this? For Luo Chen's next series, why don't you take it slow and wait for news from my side? I'm currently preparing a new series and the male lead is quite suitable for him." If Song Jinlin dared to say something like this, It meant that Luochen had at least a 70% chance of getting it. Yi Wanwan's eyes glistened slightly and she quickly thanked him. I shall thank Director Song on behalf of Luochen then. We'll definitely wait for your news. The head was very efficient in issuing their salaries. When they were done filming, the fascinating trio received their money and each of them got $100. As the devotee and crossdresser put in a lot of effort and performed exceptionally well, the head generously gave them another red packet with another $100 in it. The three of them held their salaries up excitedly. We made some money. Finally, our first transaction of the day. Why doesn't this poor devotee change career paths and become an actor instead? Seeing that Yi Wanwan was walking over, the devotee stopped her firmly and had a 180-degree change in his attitude. He became very cordial as he said, boss, I have something to discuss with you. What is it? Yi Wanwan stopped in her tracks and turned to the three people. Chapter 709. Greatest Financial Backer. Hee, it's like this. As our greatest financial backer at the moment, I think you're the most reliable. If there are any other jobs like this in the future, please contact us anytime. We'll be there. Yi Wanwan. I'm actually their greatest financial backer at the moment? How badly are they doing, huh? These two seemed to be acting in the eyes of others, but Yi Wanwan knew very clearly that they had really been fighting. Moreover, she had never seen those moves before. By right, with their skills, they should have a couple career options and wouldn't have to starve. But judging from what they said, it seemed like there was some weird rule about not using violence to earn money. Also, she could tell that these people were in the late stages of lazy cancer with one look. They could neither use their forelimbs nor distinguish rice from wheat. Furthermore, each one of them was really strange and had strange thought patterns. Which normal employer would want to hire them, huh? No wonder they could only beg, read people's fortunes, set up stalls along the street or be laborers. Although their actions were strange and Yi Wanwan still didn't know where they came from, it had nothing to do with her anyway. She just found it quite pleasing to the eye when she saw this devotee beating up Yuan Sheng and the others the other day, so she simply offered them the job today. If there are any opportunities in the future, I will. Alright, you guys wait here for a bit. They will be giving out packed lunches soon. It's the final shoot today, so the food should be pretty good. Yi Wanwan said before she promptly left, not wishing to stay there any longer. She had no idea how these people were looking at her, with eyes glistening like they just saw a mountain of gold. Late at night, big street stall, Nameless Nya had one leg up on a long stool. His expression was horribly gloomy. It's the last day of the month. The bulky man across him obediently took out the money from moving bricks. They were all $5 and $10 notes, totaling a little over $100 altogether. Spray of Flowers pushed the devotee away with his buttocks immediately and went over to take credit. Captain, I made $200 today. Oh, I can finally provide for Captain now. The second Spray of Flowers got closer to him. The hairs on Nameless Nya's body stood straight up, and he glared at him warily. Stay away from me if you don't have a death wish. I'm a straight man. Seeing that his captain would kill him as a sacrifice to the heavens if he caused any unnecessary misunderstandings, Spray of Flowers instantly looked as though he just suffered an enormous blow and wept. Captain, do you have someone else already? Sob. The devotee squeezed his way through to curry favor. Move it, bloody crossdresser. Captain, this is the $200 I made. Finally, even the iceberg man took out $100 without a sound. Other than little sweetie, how could these three guys possibly earn money as well? Nameless Nya revealed a suspicious look. Where did the money come from? Did you rob people again? Have you guys forgotten our team's core values again? Nameless Nya snapped. The crossdresser hurriedly explained. Captain, we earned this money honestly and legally. We earned it from acting. How could these people think of being walk-on artists with their level of intelligence? Most importantly, which production crew would actually hire them? Captain, it was that famous Yi chick who got us the job. The one who paid for our meal that time. Aya, we really are fated, huh? Lately, Captain had been tortured by the little devil at home till he was on edge all the time. Who would dare to offend him, huh? Famous Yi. Nameless Nia finally believed them. Nameless Nia glanced at the date. It was getting closer and closer to the little devil's deadline, and it was making him worried. Any news about her? When they all heard his question, they turned to look at each other and shrunk into quails. Chapter 710. Screwed over again, the cross-dresser murmured softly like he just suffered a grievance. Great Missy seemed to have vanished from this earth. There are no leads at all, and our only clue right now is a photo from 4 years ago. We can't be sure how she looks like right now or whether she's a man or woman. She might have even gone for a sex change. With a sea of people around us, how are we going to look for her? At this moment, the black phone clipped on Nameless Nia's waist rang all of a sudden like demonic music playing in his ear. Everyone's hairs stood on end, and they all moved back with their stools, trying their best to reduce their existence. Nameless Nia pinched his brows. Although he wasn't very willing, he didn't dare to delay and answered the call immediately. Hello. Have you found my mom? The familiar voice of a child came through the receiver. He had an immature voice, but it was icy and particularly horrifying. Nameless Nia took a deep breath. I said, can't you change your lines a little each time you call? Have you found my dad? Sure, just pretend that I didn't say anything. Uncle, you're left with half a month's time, and if you still don't have news about them by then, I can only go over to Country Z personally. Nameless Nia's scalp went numb instantly. Damn. Don't do anything rash. What if something happens to you? My parents would murder me if anything happened to their precious grandson. Furthermore, this little devil tortures me till I don't even want to live anymore when he's 1,000 miles away. How am I going to live if he comes over to Country Z? Then we can only blame me for having such a useless uncle. Nameless Nia. Must you hurt me like this? Nameless Nia gritted his teeth and said gloomily. Do you know you're not adorable at all? Even if we find your parents, they won't want you. Uncle, you should just worry about yourself because before that happens, your daddy and mommy wouldn't want you first. Nameless Nia. Fuck. The 4 people around the table knew what was going on just by looking at Nameless Nia's expression. Captain is getting screwed over again. He knows he'll get abused each time and should just give up struggling. Why go to this extent, Nameless Nia placed his phone down and glanced at the 4 people. If we can't find her in 6 months, Little Devil will be making a trip to Country Z personally. Damn. The 4 people who had previously been gloating changed their faces instantly at the same time. Lately, things could be said to be going smoothly for Yi Wanwan. She successfully accumulated enough course credits to jump a year in college. Dazzling rose rapidly under Yi Wanwan's management, and after the bullying incident, Gong Su's damaged reputation had been reversed. He was successfully molded into a frank and outspoken person with a free and easygoing personality. As for Luo Chen, the ratings for Terrifying Dragon 2 kept rising after it was broadcast. It exploded in fame, and although Luo Chen played the role of a supporting actor, his popularity crushed the main lead, Ling Xiaojia. He got advertisements, endorsements, magazine covers, variety show appearances, and all sorts of other projects and opportunities came knocking. All these came as no surprise and were part of Yi Wanwan's plan, but helping Yi Mu Fan was still the most gratifying one. At first, she was worried he wouldn't be able to recover after his setback, but thankfully, that guy strove for himself and led the entire styling team to transform the public's impression of Dazzling's artists being manufactured on a production line. After The Prosperous Dynasty was screened, there were tons of great reviews, and the styling and designs of the costumes in the show caused quite a sensation in the fashion world. From this show alone, Yi Mu Fan won the 100 Flowers Best Costume Designer Award, and over 10 other awards, becoming the greatest unexpected winner in the fashion world. He gained recognition from the chairperson of the Fashion Association, Mu Wenqing, and even got the position of vice chairperson. He was doing extremely well in the industry. Chapter 711. Why can't you play by the book? Dazzling Media, Yi Mu Fan's office. All the relevant details about our cooperation has been verified and completed. Miss Shen, do you still have any questions? Yi Mu-fan held a cigarette between his fingers as he glanced at the woman seated across from him on the sofa. The woman was dressed in a black evening gown. She looked stunning and her figure was fantastic. When she heard Yi Mu-fan's words, she stood up slowly and walked towards him. The woman stood right in front of Yi Mu-fan's desk, then lowered her body and said in the sweetest voice, "Head stylist Felix." Yi Mu-fan flicked the cigarette ashes away and looked at the other party casually. The woman leaned over on purpose to reveal the black lace bra she was wearing. "What? Is there anything else?" Yi Mu-fan feigned ignorance and asked. In the past, he was a playboy and had seen many such seduction methods. How could he not know what she was trying to do? As expected, Shen Manju took out a piece of perfumed paper from her body and passed it to him. "This is my number." Yi Mu-fan glanced at her and didn't move at all. He had already turned over a new leaf and his career was his life right now. He would never be swayed by these nobodies. Hence, Yi Mu-fan rejected her with a straight face. "Miss Shen, I'm very sorry but I'm not who you think I am. My career is my top priority right now." Yi Mu-fan was about to reject her but was immediately interrupted by the girl's pleas. "Please hand it to Director Yi for me, thanks." Yi Mu-fan was dumbfounded. He looked as if he had just eaten poop. Cough, cough, cough. "Ha. Who did you want me to pass it to?" Everyone in the industry called him by his English name and didn't address him as Director Yi. There was only one person who went by the title Director Yi, and that was his sister. The woman covered her face shyly. "Yi by Director Yi. You're on good terms with him, right? Please help me pull some strings. I'm too embarrassed to do it." "Yi Mu-fan, I'll pull your father. Why can't you play by the book? Please, please. You must pass it to him. I'll treat you to a meal if it's done." Oh, the female artist stuffed her phone number into Yi Mu-fan's pocket, blew him a kiss and left. Yi Mu-fan stared at the piece of paper with her number written on it. The sadness in his heart overflowed like a river. Back in the day, Yi Wanwan was the one who helped him pass love letters and gifts to girls. He never ever thought there would be a day when their roles were reversed. Yi Mu-fan took a very long time before he managed to get over his sorrow. He took the paper resentfully and went to find his sister. Dong dong dong. Even his knocks were full of resentment. "Come in." Yi Wanwan covered all the documents from C Corporation that she was reading. Yi Mu-fan entered and directly tossed the piece of paper on Yi Wanwan's desk. "There, it's for you." Yi Wanwan choked and sneezed as the paper was too heavily scented. "What's this?" Yi Mu-fan mumbled with jealousy. "A chick's number. She's trying to hook up with you and wants me to pull strings for her." Yi Wanwan giggled and put the paper aside, then she waved. "You know very well that I'm strong in will but weak in power. You should have declined on my behalf at least." Seeing the faint smile on Yi Wanwan's lazy expression, Yi Mu-fan spaced out. Then he realized something miserably. Damn. My sister is really quite handsome. When she was working, her serious manner gave one a sense of security, and when she was relaxed and lazy, she was extremely charming. No, wait, that's not the point. The point is, what does she mean by strong in will but weak in power? She's a girl, so what willpower does she need? Chapter 712. Who is he going to be fronting for? Yi Mu-fan was cursing in his heart when Yi Wanwan pulled open a drawer and took out a velvet gift box for him. "Almost forgot about this. It's for you. Congratulations on getting the award." "Haha, I have a present, eh? How can I accept that, huh?" Although that was what he said, his hand reached out for it swiftly. The moment he opened it, a Patek Philippe greeted him. It was a special limited edition watch. Yi Mu-fan noticed there was another similar box in her drawer, so he asked, "You bought 2 sets? It's Dad's birthday next month. Did you forget about it?" "Oh, right. But with Dad's personality, he wouldn't accept such an expensive watch. I'll just tell him it's a counterfeit and I bought it for $200. Yi Wanwan didn't seem to mind. Yi Mu-fan was speechless. Cough. You think our dad can't even differentiate the real deal from a counterfeit? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Whether or not he believes it depends on who says it. Yi Mu-fan pouted. Right. He believes whatever his precious daughter says. Oh right. Are you coming to tonight's grand fashion ceremony? Yimu Fan asked excitedly. After going through so much, Yimu Fan now kept quite a low profile. This was his first time appearing in front of the public at tonight's grand fashion ceremony organized by the Fashion Association. Also, he would be appearing in the capacity of the vice chairperson of the Fashion Association, an expert judging panel. I still have some things I need to settle first, so I'll probably be late. Since it's your night tonight, I'll just drop by for a bit. Make sure you don't drink so much and drive slowly. Yi Wanwan smiled. Before, she had to keep an eye on Yimu Fan, but now, she could let him handle things by himself. Actually, with regards to networking, Yimu Fan was much better at it than her. Alright, then I'll head over by myself first. Remember to come. Yimu Fan urged her repeatedly. Otherwise, who am I going to be fronting for? I finally have something to show for my life. Before leaving, Yimu Fan caught sight of a stack of documents next to Yi Wanwan's hand, and there seemed to be the logo of C Corporation printed on the corner of it. Why would Wanwan have documents about the C Corporation? Yimu Fan shook his head and assumed he probably made a mistake, so he didn't think much about it and simply hummed a song, leaving in good spirits. After Yimu Fan left, Yi Wanwan continued looking through the documents with relevant information about the C Corporation. Before she was reborn, she spent all her time on chasing Guyu Zhe, resenting the heavens and blaming others. After her rebirth, she didn't waste a single second at all, and was absorbing all sorts of knowledge like a sponge. Aside from things related to acting, she spent all her remaining time on understanding the C Corporation better. The C family had various subdivisions all over the world handled by their direct descendants. Needless to say, their subsidiary companies were messier with crooks mixed in with the honest folks. They were involved in real estate, hotels, jewelry, precious stones, antiques, jades, fashion, electronics, and many other industries. She already spent many months just trying to sort out and understand one of them. However, these matters really were quite complicated. Even the internal staff who had worked in the C Corporation for many years could never possibly understand everything fully. It was already impressive for her to be able to absorb so much information in such a short time. After the first step of information collection was completed, the next step was to put what she learned into practice. If she wanted to win people over, she couldn't simply indulge in empty talk. During this period, Qin Ruoshi was obviously working hard as well, and had successfully clinched a number of major deals while Si Yihan was recuperating, winning many people over. It was hard to blame anyone for thinking that Qin Ruoshi's status was irreplaceable. TSK, I will let those people know what it truly means to be irreplaceable. Chapter 713. Who does he think he is? Over at Assembly of Stars Entertainment, everyone was crowded around He Juncheng, congratulating him. Head stylist He, congratulations. Indeed, one's ability will prove it all. Those amateur country bumpkins don't know a thing about fashion, and even said our boss used up all his creative powers already. Of course. Do you know how competitive the 100 Flowers Film Awards are? Even Chasel from Emperor Sky wasn't on the list. The costume drama He Junqing acted in was nominated for the 100 Flowers Award. Although the drama was only shortlisted and he didn't win an award, this was the most prestigious award in the local film industry, and only the top experts were nominated. Due to the errors appearing in his recent designs and styles, there was an increasing amount of rumors, but fortunately, this award proved his abilities. Even the rumors about the drop in his skills dissipated. This costume drama, which was nominated for the 100 Flowers Award, was taken over by Yimu Fan before he left. When that happened, he only managed to complete his job halfway. At first, He Junqing tried to convince Yimu Fan to come back and work for him. But who'd have expected that that garbage didn't know what was good for him? Because of him, He Junqing had to form a team at the very last minute to complete the rest of the design. Luckily, all the work he did during these 2 years was enough for him to gain a foothold in the fashion world. He could even just live off his past achievements. A pity that the prosperous dynasty popped out all of a sudden. Otherwise, the award would definitely go to our head stylist He. Someone mumbled regretfully in the crowd. However, Someone else went over to He Juncheng immediately to flatter him. Too bad. The Prosperous Dynasty is worldwide's major production. We won't be able to compare with their resources and investments. Also, that designer who won the award was recruited into dazzling. He must be some expert who relied on connections. It's expected that he won the award, but our head stylist he threw a sprat to catch a whale. He was truly the unexpected winner. That's right, that's right. I heard the chairperson of the Fashion Association, Mu Wenqing, personally invited head stylist he to participate in the grand fashion ceremony this time. He even praised head stylist he's work in front of the reporters previously. Obviously, He Juncheng didn't feel very comfortable when they brought up the drama series, The Prosperous Dynasty, that trampled him. However, losing to an opponent like that wasn't embarrassing to him. It was actually an honor instead. Hearing the compliments around him, He Juncheng replied smugly, "It's just pure luck that I gained Chairperson Mu's favor." Everyone hurriedly bootlicked him once again. Head stylist you're too humble. These 2 years, you've won countless awards and groomed so many artists for the company. How could it simply be pure luck? It's your talent and strength that has brought you to the position you are in today. After He Juncheng was done basking in praise from everybody, he drove over to fetch Shen Mengqi, perfectly content. In the car, He Juncheng, who was clad in designer brands, was flushed with success. "Mengqi, what do you think? I told you there wouldn't be any problems, didn't I? Who does that guy think he is? He really thinks he's irreplaceable, huh?" Although Shen Mengqi's face was much gentler, she was still unhappy and frustrated. "What about my outfit for next month's International Fashion Week? Can I rely on you, huh?" He Juncheng's eyes lit up. "I've already thought it out. During the grand fashion ceremony tonight, the newly appointed vice chairperson, Felix, will be there as well. We just have to prepare a couple gifts to entice him a little, then ask him out for a discussion, and hire him to style you." Shen Mengqi rolled her eyes at him, annoyed. He's worldwide's gold medal stylist, a guest of Mu Wenqing, the vice chairperson of the Fashion Association. As if it would be that easy for him to hire me, eh? Chapter 7:14. We must hire him. The luck of the newly appointed gold medal stylist, Godly Felix, didn't seem too good. Yi Mu Fan was looking bright and dashing as he left the apartment. He had pomade in his hair, which was very neatly combed. He drove his red Pagani sports car towards the venue of the grand fashion ceremony, radiant with happiness. The ceremony was held at a high-end private clubhouse in the suburbs of Beijing. Although the weather wasn't great the past few days, and it had been raining, it didn't seem to dampen his good mood at all. The car windows were half open and there was a light drizzle pattering against his face, yet he was completely relaxed and content. Since there weren't many people on the road, Yi Mu Fan sped up. But halfway through, he saw a small blue car going against the traffic, advancing towards him. Fuck! Yi Mu Fan slammed on his brakes and swerved to avoid the car. As he was driving too fast, the red Pagani still scaped against the Buick and drove into a nearby shrub before it finally stopped. Thankfully, he dodged the car and nothing major happened. As it had just rained, the shrub was covered with mud. When Yi Mu Fan finally climbed out of his car, his entire appearance was ruined. His hair was a mess, his body was stained with mud, and the hood of his Pagani had a big dent. Damn it! I'm dead meat. Yi Mu Fan scratched his head, and was as worried as an ant in a simmering pot. His first reaction was, I'm dead. Wanwan already told me to drive slowly before I left the apartment, but now, I crashed the car. If Wanwan finds out about it, she'll skin me alive. Damn, do you know how to drive? The driver of the blue car got out of the car, and started yelling at Yi Mu Fan immediately. Yi Mu Fan was stunned. He was the one going against traffic, alright? Now I understand the saying, the guilty party files the suit. The other party had a strong stench of alcohol, and had clearly been drunk driving. Great, I'll just call the police. What's the use in reasoning with a drunkard anyway? As Yi Mu Fan needed to rush off to the grand fashion ceremony, he directly called the police, then gave his assistant a call to come over and settle the matter. At the same time, He Juncheng and Shen Mengqi were already at the venue of the grand fashion ceremony. The two of them handed in their delicately designed gold foil invitations and entered. The ballroom was filled with perfumed clothes and gorgeous hairdos. Everyone there was either renowned in the fashion industry or were famous celebrities. After the two of them entered, a number of acquaintances went up and greeted them. Head stylist He, congratulations on getting nominated. He Junqing cupped his hands in gratitude. You're too kind, you're too kind. After a round of greeting, Shen Mengqi scanned the crowd anxiously. Is the Felix you mentioned here already? He Junqing. Doesn't seem like it. He Junqing, give me a definite answer right now. Are you confident you can hire that guy or not? Shen Mengqi was worried and asked once again. He Junqing wasn't certain and replied hesitantly. Mengqi, must you really hire Felix? Shen Mengqi glanced sideways at him. Of course. This is my first international show. I won't allow room for any mistakes. Lately, her styles had been mediocre and her status as a fashion guru was in danger. So how could she not be anxious? So no matter what the price was, she had to hire him. If He Junqing was more reliable, would she have to go through so much effort, huh? As for Yi Mu Fan, he was even more useless. He was probably fooling around somewhere right now. Chapter 7:15. Depends on our luck. He Junqing was in a difficult position. Mengqi, I suggest you don't have too much hope. This newly appointed vice chairperson has a weird personality. He doesn't charge a cent for styling artists in dazzling media, but for anyone outside of dazzling media, including those from worldwide, it depends on his mood and he could charge an extremely steep price. Even so, there's a long line of people requesting him. He's extremely hard to get. I know Director Zhang from the Fashion Association, and we might be able to ask him to help us pull some strings, but whether we can hire him or not depends on our luck. Shen Mengqi furrowed her brows. He's just a stylist. Does he have to be so arrogant? When a stylist from Assembly of Stars heard her, he quickly said, Big Missy, you shouldn't belittle the importance of a stylist. In the entertainment industry, an artist's outlook and style are life or death to them. It's hard to find a good stylist in the industry, let alone an expert like Felix who can transform something rotten into something magical. He's now a hot favorite. Even superstars and A-listers have to humble themselves before him. He Junqing nodded in agreement. Yes, that's exactly it. At the moment there was a commotion nearby. It was the arrival of Director Zhang from the Fashion Association. Mengqi, Director Zhang is here. Quick. He Junqing waited for a long time before he finally squeezed through the crowd and brought Shen Mengqi over to meet him. Director Zhang, hello. I'm He Junqing from Assembly of Stars Entertainment. We met before. Director Zhang nodded slightly then raised the glass in his hand. Head stylist He, I haven't congratulated you on being nominated for the 100 Flowers Award this time. Your work is amazing. Even the chairperson himself praised your work. Thank you, Director Zhang. You're too kind. He Junqing smiled and exchanged conventional greetings for a bit before moving on to business. Director Zhang, I wonder if the vice chairperson is here yet? About that thing I told you before. What do you think? Could you ask him for me? Director Zhang shook his head. Ask Felix? Next month will be the opening of Fashion Week in Lorraine, and almost everyone is looking for him. If it's an artist from dazzling media, it'd be easier, but for other companies, Director Zhang gave an expression like everyone should be well aware of this and patted He Junqing's shoulders. Count yourself lucky if you're able to exchange a few words with him tonight. Give it some time. He Junqing hurriedly said. Yes, we don't mind waiting at all. Please put in a good word for us later. Director Zhang was about to speak when his phone started ringing, so he quickly stepped to the side to answer it, appearing to be extremely polite. Hello Vice Chairperson, are you here yet? What? How did that happen? Was it serious? Are you alright? Oh, good, as long as you're fine. Clothes shouldn't be a problem. I'll prepare some for you personally. Sure. Director Zhang immediately turned to He Junqing and the others after the phone call. Everyone, I have something I need to do right now. I'm going to excuse myself first. Sure, go get busy. Everyone sent him on his way. After Director Zheng left, everybody split into their own groups and started gossiping. Was Director Zheng on the phone with the vice chairperson just now? Did something happen? Seems like he encountered a bit of trouble on his way here. Speaking of which, where did this Felix come from anyway? Since he's so great, why didn't he join a bigger company? Why was he so set on staying in a small nook like Dazzling? Not sure. I only know that he was poached by Dazzling's director of talent management. Also, Dazzling is doing quite good now, right? From the looks of things, they seem quite awesome. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.